Thank you.
I love you.
President Trump spoke to the Knesset, Israel's parliament, to a huge standing ovation. He said that the war is over and this is the start of a new beginning. He also talked
Thank
of
you, Mr. President Trump. Thank you. We love you. We love you. Thank you from all our hearts.
You can hear the appreciation here, really. People really mean that. I've been hearing that all over from people today. President Trump was talking about a historic dawn of a new Middle East, and he praised his partner, who he called Bibi, referring to Prime Minister Netanyahu by his nickname. We're already hearing reports, I have to say, that the president of Indonesia, which remember has no relations with Israel, could be coming to Israel as early as tomorrow. And Prime Minister Netanyahu, when he spoke just before President Trump to the parliament, he said that everything changed in this war with the election of President Trump. He extended Israel's hand of peace to its enemies, and he also said that Israel is going to be awarding the Israel Prize, which is the highest civilian honor here in Israel, to President Trump. And this will be the first time ever that a non-Israeli has been the recipient of that award in Israeli history. Now, we're hearing that President Trump could be going on to one of the hospitals to meet with some of the hostages. President Trump said that he is so happy to have seen them freed, and all 20 of the living hostages who were still in the hands of Hamas early this morning are now back in Israel, including Omri Miran, whose brother-in-law I spoke with just yesterday, and Omri is now reuniting with his family and his 2 young daughters. Now, we're hearing that the health condition of the hostages is satisfactory, but we are being warned of potential internal injuries, and we'll know more, of course, once they have been thoroughly assessed in the hospitals. We're also hearing that only 4 of the 28 killed hostages' bodies will be returned today, so that is far fewer than had been anticipated. This is really a day of deep emotions here, lots of tears, happy and sad. There's joy, there's sorrow as the living hostages return, as the dead hostages unfortunately come back. Also concern, I have to say, for the number of terrorists being released from jail as part of this deal. But today people are hopeful. There are billboards and signs across Israel thanking President Trump, reinforcing the strong US-Israel alliance. And as Netanyahu said repeatedly, President Trump is the best friend that Israel has ever had. Back to you.
True indeed, Jody. Thanks so much for your reporting. And we can tell by the lady who actually joined in as you were reporting, we could tell that there is so much excitement. We appreciate your reporting. Thanks so much. Coming up, we'll recap this historic day after the break.
Stay with us.
It used to be common. Our newscasters had common sense. They gave it to you straight, just the facts, and real news. John Bachman is like them. He tells it like it is. Catch him every weekday on Newsmax 2.
Hi, folks, we're back. If you've been injured in an accident that's not your fault and you don't have an attorney, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions and tell you what your case is potentially worth. Pick up the phone, call now.
If you've been in an accident that wasn't your fault, well, your favorite attorney has a message for you. Collision, calamity, catastrophe? Are you innocent, faultless, above reproach? If you want money, you need an attorney. You need a bulldog. But finding one, it's laborious, it's strenuous, it's stupefying. That's why you gotta call the number on your screen now. They'll help you connect to a legal expert. You have questions, they have answers. They know the legalese, the lingo, the jargon, and the argot. They'll even tell you how much money your case could be worth. 300,000, 2 million, 86,491, all sorts of numbers. Slip and falls, work accidents, car, truck, bus, motorcycle, motorbike, e-bike, tandem bike. These bulldogs will make sure people pay. And if you don't get paid, the attorneys don't get paid, and I don't get paid. So I compel you, I implore you, I beseech you to pick up that phone and call now to see what your case could be worth.
800-428-1369.
Are you over 50? Would you like to get up to 33% more income in retirement? Then call now and get this free book, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers, from a leading financial firm on maximizing your income in retirement. This book reveals little-known secrets about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms that can help you make the right choices before buying an annuity. And if you call right now, as a bonus, we'll throw in a free annuity rate report. We've researched over 1,200 annuities summarizing the rates and benefits for you. So don't miss out on this opportunity because supplies are limited. Call now and find out how you can get up to 33% more income in your retirement, and you'll receive Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers and the Annuity Rate Report as an added bonus. Both books are yours free, just for calling Annuity General today.
Call 800-518-5694. That's 800-518-5694. Again, 800-518-5694.
Welcome back. As you can see, it's no longer Hostages Square. It is now Freed Square, thanks to President Trump proclaiming today the skies are calm and there's a new age of the end of terror in the Middle East.
Exactly, a golden age for the Middle East. President Trump will later head to Egypt, where he will be meeting with world leaders at a peace summit. And today, again, I can't even put into words the fact that this was such an amazing morning for all of us experiencing it.
Unchanging truth in an ever-changing world. Turning Point with Dr. David Jeremiah. Wednesdays on the Dove TV. Encouraging and informative. You're tuned to the Dove, encouraging and informative. Helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on the Dove.
And good morning to you as we awake this morning. Unbelievable world history being made in the Middle East this morning as President Trump just got through speaking to the Knesset there in Jerusalem. And just prior to that, take a look at this video here this morning. These are the 20 live hostages being escorted out from the control of Hamas. These are the Red Cross International vehicles. And there are 20 alive hostages that have been transported, 28 deceased. I'm not sure if they've been transported yet or not, but the 20 alive have been moved to Jerusalem, or actually a little bit south of there where the Gaza line is. This is historic. And what's so interesting about this is that this is the Red Cross International transporting these hostages finally now into freedom. We have no idea what condition they're in, but they're being rushed to medical assistance right away. And that happened a few hours ago. And then coming up here a little bit this morning, we have a lot of highlights from the president addressing the Knesset there in Jerusalem. Pretty remarkable speech.
Yes. Oh, amazing.
He covered everything but, bananas on sale at Walmart. That was pretty extensive, so we have a lot to talk about. Good morning. Happy Monday to you. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove. We have a lot going on with this world history event this morning, which has kind of captivated the entire world, and we'll keep you posted as we go down the road. What's up? What do you got?
Well, the president's done a lot of things, including returning this day to Columbus Day.
That's right.
And it is Columbus Day. Enjoy. It's also Native American Day. It is also the birthday of the United States Navy.
Oh.
Yeah, at 250 years old today.
That's
formed
right.
on this date in 1775. Wow. It's also, I don't know, can you say this on Christian TV and radio? What? It's National Kick Butt Day.
You just did.
It's to give yourself that much needed kick in the pants. It's about moving past the planning stage, getting down to the business of doing. You may have some projects, something that you've been working on, something that you're really preparing for. Time to go over the cliff and get it done.
Get her done.
Get her done.
Right.
We have one thing to eat. It's kind of a misnomer. It's National Yorkshire Pudding Day.
Oh.
Not to be confused with a dessert. Yorkshire pudding is a traditional English dish similar to a popover. So it's got crust on it, made from batter, usually served with roast meat and gravy. And I've never had it. I was talking to Alice about it this morning. She has had it, and she says it's really good.
Yeah, it's pretty fluffy.
Okay.
On top.
Yeah.
Then you get into it, you know. But they can be filled with all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it kind of looks like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm at a loss.
Well,
this one is really past my pay grade.
See how you can load it up with stuff?
Oh, I see. Okay.
It's kind of like a croissant. It's fluffy like a croissant, and then you stuff it with stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, okay.
Kinda,
I'll take
sorta.
it. That's
Kinda,
all we
sorta.
got to eat, and I'm easy. I'm easily pleased in the food department, so I'll give it a try.
right.
Enjoy your Yorkshire pudding. It's also National Online Banking Day.
Oh.
It reminds us that we don't have to take it to the bank to get it to the bank.
Banks are closed today.
A lot of banks are closed today, so if you want to bank, you're going to go online. And speaking of online banking, did you know that 77% of Americans now prefer managing their bank accounts through a mobile app or computer? Still, 84% of us worry about online banking security. Fortunately, banks fight back with multi-factor authentication, encryption, and real-time fraud detection to protect your money. On online banking day, remember, ease and convenience are great, but a strong password and careful habits are your best guards. So speaking of that strong password thing, that's a really tough thing these days because we have so many accounts that require so many passwords, including the middle name of your firstborn child, the date that you were married on,
Your first car.
your first car, what was it? Yeah. And then you have those reminders. Okay, remind me of what that password is. Of course, I want to use the same password on everything because then I can remember it. But they tell me if I do that, that I'm really vulnerable for hacking. What say you?
Well, I have one password that I use a lot of things on.
Okay.
And then you're forced to have other ones because they won't accept it because it doesn't have enough, goofy things in it.
Exactly, yes.
So I don't know.
So, do you keep a list of your passwords?
Yeah, it's somewhere around here.
You know, I know exactly where mine is.
Okay.
It's in Pam's notebook.
Okay. Well, yeah, Peggy has one of those too. But the only thing I can say about this cybersecurity being what it is, you need to be wise about this.
Yeah.
So you ever see where it says, "Did you forget your password?" Yes. You click here and they send it to you again.
Oh,
or they make you create a
no,
new
because you're
one.
going to change it. Yes. Anytime I've ever done that, they want me to change it.
So who has copy of that?
I don't know.
See, that's cybersecurity right there.
I don't know.
I don't know. That's the world we live in.
Yeah.
Be careful.
And you know what I've done in the past? I'll forget my password, so they'll say, redo it.
Yeah.
I'll send it, and then I'll put in a username, and they'll say, sorry, that username's already taken.
Yeah.
Well, it's mine. Just let me back into the account.
I don't know.
Come on.
I don't know.
Oh, well. Enjoy your online banking day.
Okay, online banking day.
Yeah, that's it.
Here's a guy that just does about everything off the line.
A look at our weather from Grange Co-op. Today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, cloudy with a chance of showers before 11 a.m., then clearing to sunny to mostly sunny and breezy with highs in the mid to upper 50s for Vancouver, Portland, Wilsonville, and McMinnville. Moving down the Willamette Valley, a chance of showers, then clearing to mostly sunny and breezy with daytime highs in the upper 50s for Salem, Albany, and Corvallis with gusts up to 23 miles per hour and a high near 61 in Eugene. In central Oregon, rain in low 50s in Prineville, rain possibly mixed with snow and breezy with highs in the low to mid 40s in Bend and Sun River, mostly cloudy with a slight chance of showers in Boise, Idaho, and low 60s. Along the Oregon coast, rain with a high near 60 in Coos Bay, rainy and breezy and near 58 in Port Orford, and rain this morning with highs in the mid-50s for Brookings and Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, rain with snow levels down to 3,800 feet, but rising through the day with highs in the low 50s for Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland, rain mixed with snow, then rain in upper 40s in Klamath Falls. Into Northern California, rain with a high in the low 50s in Wairika. Showers continue from Redding with a high near 51 through Chico in the upper 50s and Sacramento with a high in the low 60s. In the Bay Area, rain with the possibility of thunderstorms and highs near 60 for Santa Rosa and Napa. Showers with the possibility of thunderstorms this afternoon for San Francisco through San Jose with highs in the mid-60s. A snapshot of your Monday weather from Grange Co-op.
All right, and there's a little showery shot of Portland this morning. There's the river, the bridge, and the cars are moving. Not very fast, but they're moving. So
that's top of our zone and all the way down to the bottom of our zone to our new friends in Las Vegas. Happy Columbus Day.
Yep.
Increasing clouds today, a high near 80. It's going to be breezy. South wind 17 to 22 miles per hour, gusting up to 31 miles per hour today in Las Vegas, so batten down the hatches.
Windy in the desert.
Yes. Well,
okay.
Time for a shot of encouragement this morning with Pastor Greg Laurie. He's got a very important message just for you.
You know, the Apostle Paul in Romans 8 said, if God is for us, who can be against us? He goes on to say, I'm persuaded in neither death nor life, nor principalities or powers or things present or things that come or any other created thing will separate us from the love of God in Christ our Lord. Back to that statement of Paul. If God is for us, it would better be translated, since God is for us. Listen to this. God is for you. He's not against you. Sometimes we feel like maybe God's against us or life is against us. Jacob once said, all these things are against me. No, listen, God is for you. God loves you. God wants to bless you. Hey, God wants to bless you even more than you want to be blessed. So if God is for you, or since God is for you, who can be against you? And the answer ultimately is no one.
Yeah, no one. Good stuff. Yeah. God is for you. Well, let's take a look at the top story this morning, and that's what's happening in Israel. President Trump, as far as I know, in my lifetime, is he the first president to address the Knesset?
Oh, George Bush did. George W. Bush did.
He did?
I think 08, I think.
Okay, then where was I? I guess I was having a pizza or something.
You were doing the show.
Was I? Okay. Well, anyway, the president did speak there this morning, and it turned out to be quite a speech. It just ended just a few moments ago. It started hours ago. Anyway, here's a couple of clips of the president from this morning.
After 2 harrowing years in darkness and captivity, 20 courageous hostages are returning to the glorious embrace of their families, and it is glorious. 28 more precious loved ones are coming home at last to rest in this sacred soil for all of time. And after so many years of unceasing war and endless danger, today the skies are calm, the guns are silent, the sirens are still, and the sun rises on a holy land that is finally at peace, a land and a region that will live, God willing, in peace for all eternity. This is not only the end of a war, this is the end of an age of terror and death and the beginning of the age of faith and hope and of God. It's the start of a grand concord and lasting harmony for Israel and all the nations of what will soon be a truly magnificent region. I believe that so strongly. This is the historic dawn of a new Middle East. I want to express my gratitude to a man of exceptional courage and patriotism, whose partnership did so much to make this momentous day possible. You know who I'm talking about. There's only one, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Bibi, please stand up. And he is not easy, I want to tell you. He's not the easiest guy to deal with, but that's what makes him great. That's what makes him great.
Well, I have to tell you, we got some more cuts here, but if the camera pans the room, talking before the Knesset's no different than talking before the joint session of Congress.
Okay.
Because there's a group there that sit on their hands.
Right. Well, a couple of them had to be escorted out.
Yeah. So it got kind of, and I guess you expect that. I mean, you got it in Parliament, you have it here.
Right.
But the vast majority of those there, were in favor of the president being there and what is happening on this day. So here's a little bit more of his speech earlier this morning.
With this week's ceasefire, we've achieved the most challenging breakthrough of them all. The most challenging breakthrough maybe ever. I mean, I've never seen anything like. I've been involved in a lot of success. I have never seen anything like what's going on today all over the world. People are dancing in the streets, not just in Israel. They're dancing in the streets of countries that would have never danced in the street about what's happening today. They're dancing in those streets. So this long and difficult war has now ended. You know, some people say 3,000 years, some people say 500 years, whatever it is. It's the granddaddy of them all. And in an unprecedented achievement, virtually the entire region has endorsed the plan that Gaza will be immediately demilitarized, that Hamas will be disarmed, and Israel's security will no longer be threatened in any way, shape, or form.
Wow.
All right, this next clip, listen carefully because this is his roundup of all the countries in the Middle East. And it's pretty staggering what he is saying here. And he's saying it in the Knesset. So here's what he had to say about the overall Middle East peace plan.
The world wanted peace, and Israel wanted peace. Everybody did. Everybody did. And what a victory it's been, right? What a victory it's been. If you would have gone on for 3, 4 more years, keep fighting, it was getting bad. It was getting heated. The timing of this is brilliant. And I said, Bibi, you're going to be remembered for this far more than if you kept this thing going, kill. It would be it would not be the same. And I just want to congratulate you for having the courage to say, that's it, we've won, and now let's enjoy our lives and let's rebuild Israel and make it stronger and bigger and better than it's ever been before. You're going to do that. Took a lot of guts. And the choice for Palestinians could not be more clear. This is their chance to turn forever from the path of terror and violence. It's been extreme, to exile the wicked forces of hate that are in their midst. And I think that's going to happen. I've met some people over the last couple of months that want to see it happen very much. And after tremendous pain and death and hardship, now is the time to concentrate on building their people up instead of trying to tear Israel down. We don't want that to happen again. And the total focus of Gazans must be on restoring the fundamentals of stability, safety, dignity, and economic development so they can finally have the better life that their children really do deserve after all these decades of horror. I intend to be a partner in this effort in the sense that we're going to help and we're going to do something that became unbelievably popular. Everybody wants to be on it. It's called the Board of Peace, okay? How about that? Is that a beautiful name? Like a board of peace. The only bad thing from my standpoint, every single nation involved has asked me to be the chair, and I'll tell you, I'm very busy. I didn't count on that, but you know what? If we do it, we'll do it right, and we have unbelievable power and wealth, because you're going to need wealth. You're going to need wealth to rebuild things, and they have wealth like few people have wealth. I want to thank the Arab and Muslim nations for their commitment that they've made to support a safe rebuilding of Gaza and beyond. I have many Arab countries, very wealthy countries, that came up and said, we'll put up tremendous amounts of money to get rebuild Gaza. And I think that's going to happen. The power, they want dignity, they want to come forward, and they want to say, and I want to say who they are, because what they're doing is going to be, I think, something that you're going to be very impressed with, Bibi, and you need that. You need the kind of economic power that they have, and they want to see it work.
Wow. Wow.
Okay, so the president, think about this. He gives a speech in the Knesset. He finished that. He's now going to be flying to Egypt, to Cairo, to meeting with 20 other nations from the Middle East to talk about this board of peace.
Yeah.
Okay. Then he hops on Air Force One and he flies as fast as he can back to Washington, D.C., because tomorrow he'll be presenting Charlie Kirk's wife with the Citizens Award. And what's interesting about that is it will be would have been Charlie Kirk's 32nd birthday.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So so right in the middle of all this, he goes over there, does his quick trip, and then he has to come all the way back. So he's one busy guy out there. So in the meantime, let's see here. The president's U.S. intelligence reports is helping Ukraine target Russia energy infrastructure. We'll be talking about that a little bit later on, but apparently the president is saying to Putin, you know, it's interesting. I want to talk, but if not, I'll use force.
Yeah.
And hopefully force then brings people to the table. Yeah. So he's going to help Ukraine with missiles to target Russia energy sites. This is pretty remarkable. You got to remember, they had 50 days to make a deal with Iran, and it wouldn't happen on the 51st day. Bombed them.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, good point.
So I think what he says is, all right, well, I'm going to try words. If it doesn't work, we'll use force, and then hopefully that'll bring you back to the table to use words. So that's what's going on. Then the other thing is that the president moves to pay the U.S. troops anyway, in spite of Senator Schumer's shutdown. Senator Schumer is really now taking the blunt of this, and even the legacy media realizes what's going on here. And it's a Schumer shutdown, so the president now is telling Pete Hegseth, go ahead and pay the troops anyway. Which is an amazing incentive.
Brilliant. Yes.
And so I think what will happen, Senator Kennedy said this best. He said what Schumer will do is he'll meet with all of his people and say, go ahead and give in, and then be prepared for me to use dirty dog names on you.
Right.
And then once I use dirty dog names on you, we'll come back and we'll reorganize. So the deals are going on behind the scenes here.
Yeah,
so we'll see what happens. Yeah. And I think Kennedy probably has some insight on this, you know, how this is going to be. So historic day in so many ways. Wow, so much going on. All right, we'll take a... what do we have? The
Yorkshire pudding all day long.
Yorkshire pudding break stuffed with
meat. Give me meat.
We'll be
I
right
need
back.
some protein.
Elk.
Yeah.
where big ideas grow.
I felt very powerless, you know, that fear of not knowing if she's going to be okay. They told me that, Mr. Allred, right now we're just trying to keep your wife comfortable. I prayed to the Lord, please, Lord, let me get there. Let me give her a kiss. Let me hold her hand one more time. Seeing her in that, you had to take a deep breath and stand next to her bedside and just pray again.
Monday on the 700 Club, right here on the Dove TV.
We've had some wonderful moments at the Dove, and it has always revolved around things that God's doing in this ministry. From a little radio station when we're over on Alder Creek, and as we started to grow over onto Disc Drive, and then this vision that came to Perry and the opportunity to go into TV and the Dove Television Network, and what has developed through it, and the response of God's people who support the Dove and stand with us. It's been absolutely stunning
not only the growth that's happened in the Dove, but the impact that the Dove has had on listeners and viewers. This is all a supernatural thing. God's fingerprints are all over it, and I am never, ever, I never ceases to amaze me how active the Lord has been involved in this ministry and been nothing short of miraculous.
The Dove Radio, celebrating 65 years.
Okay, welcome back. 23 minutes past the hour. Some regional news, actually in our own backyard, Portland. The protests continues there as people up in Portland are awaiting the court ruling as to whether or not the president can go ahead and send the National Guard in. So they continue to protest. Now, what's so interesting about this is the mayor, I think it was Friday, withdrew the police line from the buildings.
Right, but they're saying we have this under control. We don't need federal troops. We got it under control.
This is control. So what's so interesting to me is that whatever police line that they agreed to protect the buildings, they withdrew it.
Right, right.
Now, this looks peaceful there, but it's not night.
Right, right. That's when all the action starts.
So Portland, there we are. We're making national news. Aren't we proud of this?
Yeah.
What a mess. Okay. Just so you know, the people have been calling me, when's the petition coming out to stop this big tax? Well, we're in this little game where 30 days from the time that the bill passed in the legislature to when the governor can sign it, then that would start the 90-day period, but there'll only be 60 days left in it.
Right.
So they're preparing for that. They're getting the petitions ready. I know groups and organizations will distribute them. We need 77,000. I think we're going for 150,000, which we should be able to do in 60 days. Okay.
Okay.
But there's some other taxes you need to be aware of.
Okay.
Portland has a 75% tax hike on park levy coming up on the ballot. Near $200 million of shrinking school funds, so $190 million ballot bill will be on the ballot for Measure 3. $50 million luxury pool, gym, recreation center tax will be on the ballot. There are 6 major taxes that are going to be on the ballot, including possibly the one that we're talking about to have it withdrawn. So we'll see.
Okay. I have a question about the petition.
Yeah.
Okay. I heard an interesting discussion the other day about the petition effort and the plants that will try to disrail it. And the plants come in the form of people from the other side who want to disrupt the process. We know that if a page in the petition has got an improper signature in it or something, the page usually gets thrown out, right? Okay, there are plants that go in and use bogus names or go and sign multiple petitions to get those sections disqualified. How do you guard against something like that?
Well, I do know that people distributing the petitions are having training sessions on those who will be handling the petitions.
Okay.
So in other words, if they gave you a petition to get signatures, they're going to tell you what to do and to make sure you just don't put it on the table and have somebody come by and sign it, that you will be there for every signature. Okay. Hopefully you will be able to figure out who's real and who's not.
Yeah, but if, say, somebody comes and signs mine and then they go to some other part of town, they sign another, and so now you have multiples, and he goes to another part of town, signs another with the same signature. Now all those get thrown out.
That's why we're going for 150,000.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, you have to go for more. Okay, yes, they're going to be there, and hopefully people gathering the petitions will have a pretty good idea. You know what? I tell you what, it's pretty simple, really. There's a way to guard yourself. Just get a petition and take it to people you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay? Just get a bunch of petitions and take it to people. All of a sudden, it's done.
Okay.
Okay. A little bit of sad news. A Hollywood sweetheart passed away over the weekend. Diane Keaton passed away. We're not sure what of and why.
No, right.
She was quite a gal, only 79 years old. Apparently, she became ill and lost a lot of weight. And then all of a sudden, boom, the 911 call came and she was gone. I don't know any more than that.
Yep, and all the stories I'm reading, nobody can really give an answer on that.
Pinpoint of what happened.
Exactly.
But there was she made a lot of movies.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of she made one with Jack Nicholson. What was that one? The one on the the beach and they went to Paris and all that.
I don't remember that one, but I do remember Godfather.
Okay, Godfather.
Oh my goodness.
And she was part of the First Wives Club.
Maybe.
Yeah.
She was Annie Hall.
There she is. I mean, okay, granted, look, I've got to be careful. People are going to yell at me for even giving credit to some of this stuff. Okay, but she was quite the Hollywood sweetheart.
Yeah.
And she suddenly passed away over the weekend, so sorry to read that. Whew. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll try to recover when we come back. Oh, no, we got weather. I'm sorry about that. Look at that. What's going on there? Rain.
Well, it looks like rain. It looks like more rain. In fact, I'm listening to rain, and that confirms the fact that we have a 100% chance of rain today. But guess what? It's going to taper off later this afternoon or into the evening, and then start clearing up. And we're going to see sunshine tomorrow through Saturday with daytime highs in the mid-60s, and actually all the way up into 71 on Saturday. Before, brace yourself, more rain on Sunday.
Okay, we can handle that.
How about that? Well, former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson joined Newsmax's Greta Van Susteren and talked about the trust Trump has with Israelis. Let's listen in.
First of all, he built up a lot of credit and trust in Israel because he moved the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. He'd been with Israel in this extraordinary operation against Iranian nuclear enrichment facilities. That was a massive thing. And I think nobody could doubt his support for Israel. So that was very, very important. And I think that with the other guys, with Hamas, the great thing about President Trump is, he has an air of unpredictability, but you think you can't take the risk. And I think that those guys genuinely thought that it was a credible threat he was making to them, that if they kept going, unless they took this deal, then they would be wiped out. And so, to a certain extent, in human affairs, sheer force of personality really does make a difference. And so what I really hope is that President Trump will see what he's achieved here by exercising maximum American pressure and do it now on Putin, because there's a huge opportunity. Putin's really not in good shape. And there's a much bigger war going on, tragically, than the war in Gaza. And hundreds of thousands of people have been killed and are still being killed in large numbers by Putin. And he has a chance to fix this, and he really, really can. I hope he's emboldened by this.
I think he makes a strong point there.
Yeah.
The pressure now on Putin is going to be absolutely maximized.
Yes.
The president has moved the United States into being the superpower of the world, and with credibility, more than words, with action. So we'll see, but this is a historic day.
He has some words of wisdom there, but I do have a question on a little bit lighter note. Does he pay somebody to cut his hair like that?
Well,
that's amazing.
Well, I got a question for you.
What?
Have you seen the new hairdo for young guys?
What?
No, have you?
I don't know.
I bet you it's all over your church. You just didn't pay attention to it.
Maybe not.
It's the bush in the front.
Oh yeah. And
that's the new hairdo. Right. So Boris is right in there with it. He actually probably was the precursor of it. I think what you do now is you get up, you stick your finger in the wall socket, whatever it looks like, that's what you go to work with. Yeah. We'll be right back.
Men of Southern Oregon, we are thrilled to announce that our next Game Changers, we are bringing in author and speaker Lee Strobel. If you're not familiar with Lee Strobel, he wrote The Case for Faith, The Case for Christ. He is the man behind the movie The Case for Christ, and he's got a new book out called Seeing the Supernatural. Recently, he's been featured on The Sean Ryan Show. He's been featured on Tucker Carlson. A lot of his books address big questions that believers have, and even the unbelieving world, about heaven, about Jesus. Can we trust the resurrection? He was formerly an atheist, and through his research, he came to the faith. I'm super excited for you guys to experience Game Changers at Edgewater Christian Fellowship with Lee Strobel. Get signed up. It's November 2nd, 6 p.m. God bless you guys.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian owned and operated, pet friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site 24/7 in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare where your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
Good morning to you. 27 minutes before the hour on this amazing historic day worldwide, and primarily what's happening in the Middle East. President Trump just moments ago finished his speech at the Knesset, which is amazing. He's on his way now to Egypt to meet with 20 other world leaders and try to pull this all together. So we'll see what happens. Phase 2 is yet to be accomplished. We'll talk about that. But in the meantime, let's check in with CBN News Watch and get caught up on this morning's activities.
This is CBN News Watch.
It is Monday, the 13th of October. We're going to begin this half hour in Israel, where after 2 long years, Israelis celebrated the freedom of all 20 living hostages released from Hamas captivity. While the hostages came home, President Donald Trump landed in Israel to address Israel's parliament to celebrate the end of the war and the release of the hostages. Chris Mitchell reports now from Jerusalem on this emotional and historic day.
After more than 2 years in captivity, the 20 hostages reunited with their families. While the families received their loved ones, Israeli President Isaac Herzog and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu greeted the president at David Ben-Gurion Airport. The president then drove straight to Jerusalem, where he met with hostage families and wrote in the Knesset guest book, "This is my great honor, a great and beautiful day, a new beginning." Then he's expected to address the Knesset and invited guests. The release of the hostages marks the end of a 2-year ordeal for the people of Israel.
This is Hostage Square in the heart of Tel Aviv. It's been the emotional heartbeat for the hostages since October 7th, with thousands of yellow ribbons, flags, posters of the hostages. But now, with the release of the remaining hostages, the sense that their heart-wrenching 2-year ordeal will finally be over.
We are such a small country here that everyone knows someone. You know either a soldier, you know a hostage, you have fought. We know their stories, we know their faces, we know their names, that it's as if it could be our brother, our sister, our father, our son. So there is this incredible connection to all of them. And so the relief, the sense of joy is just overwhelming, I think, for us as a country, as a nation.
Many people look to this scripture in Jeremiah as a picture of what took place today. Thus says the Lord, refrain your voice from weeping and your eyes from tears, for your work shall be rewarded, says the Lord, and they shall come back from the land of the enemy. There is hope in your future, says the Lord, that your children shall come back to their own border.
What a day of celebration. Chris Mitchell joins us now from Jerusalem to continue our coverage. So, Chris, is the deal a victory for Israel and a defeat for Hamas after Israel used its military force to relentlessly dismantle the terror group?
Yeah, I believe it is, Ephraim. I think since the very beginning of the war, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu and his cabinet felt that the military pressure on Hamas would lead to the release of the hostages. And I think that, combined with the involvement of President Trump, who's right now at the Knesset, is really put the pressure on Hamas. And not only the pressure on Hamas, Ephraim, but the pressure on Qatar, which has really been the sponsor of Hamas since the very beginning and long before the war, to make sure that all 48 hostages would be released. We understand 20 of the living are now in Israeli soil. The 28 bodies of those deceased expected later today and maybe in a few days. But the military pressure, I think, and the involvement of President Trump with that combination with Prime Minister Netanyahu really, I think, got us to this day where all these hostages are being released.
Now, Chris, you were there in Hostage Square over the weekend. Talk about the sense there and the connection of Israelis.
Well, there were two people there that told me they could breathe again, and that was part of the message today in the Knesset. It's almost as if Israel for 2 years has been holding its breath, waiting for those 48 hostages and all the hostages to come out. And, there's a movie called 6 Degrees of Separation, Ephraim, where, 6 degrees from anybody in the world. I think that degrees of separation is almost cut in half here. Everybody knows somebody that was either a victim of October 7th, that fell in battle. So this is really a very, very emotional time for the people of Israel. Just an exciting day, but also a day of mourning for those that have perished. But this is something that people have been waiting for 2 years. And here we are on the very end of the Feast of Tabernacles, a very, very sobering but profound, joyful day for the people of Israel.
Indeed. What impact does the release of the living hostages have on Hamas and Israel?
Well, the living hostages and those dead bodies, Ephraim, were really the leverage that Hamas had over the people of Israel. They were the ultimate human shields for Israel. And so now that they are here in Israel, really Hamas doesn't have that ace in the hole, as it were, and that the best leverage they had over Israel. So that makes them more vulnerable to possible attack by Israel if Hamas violates the 20-point plan. And right now we're entering after phase one. Phase one seems to end today. Later on, President Trump will go to Sharm el-Sheikh to sign a formal ceremony about this peace plan. But this is going into phase two, where Hamas needs to disarm. It's going to be very problematic. But Hamas, without the hostages, is nothing what it was just 24 hours ago.
Well, I tell you, that's pretty amazing. It's just staggering what's going on over there. So, all right, good morning. 20 minutes before the hour, let's check out the weather because it's raining out there.
A look at our weather from Grange Co-op. Today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, cloudy with a chance of showers before 11 a.m., then clearing to sunny to mostly sunny and breezy with highs in the mid-upper 50s for Vancouver, Portland, Wilsonville, and McMinnville. Moving down the Willamette Valley, a chance of showers, then clearing to mostly sunny and breezy with daytime highs in the upper 50s for Salem, Albany, and Corvallis with gusts up to 23 miles per hour and a high near 61 in Eugene. In central Oregon, rain in low 50s in Prineville, rain possibly mixed with snow and breezy with highs in the low to mid 40s in Bend and Sun River, mostly cloudy with a slight chance of showers in Boise, Idaho in low 60s. Along the Oregon coast, rain with a high near 60 in Coos Bay, rainy and breezy and near 58 in Port Orford, and rain this morning with highs in the mid 50s for Brookings and Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, rain with snow levels down to 3,800 feet, but rising through the day with highs in the low 50s for Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland. Rain mixed with snow, then rain in upper 40s in Klamath Falls. Into northern California, rain with a high in the low 50s in Wairika. Showers continue from Redding with a high near 51 through Chico in the upper 50s and Sacramento with a high in the low 60s. In the Bay Area, rain with the possibility of thunderstorms and highs near 60 for Santa Rosa and Napa. Showers with the possibility of thunderstorms this afternoon for San Francisco through San Jose with highs in the mid-60s. A snapshot of your Monday weather from Grange Co-op.
Beautiful shot of Portland, raining up there, raining throughout the Pacific Northwest. Drive carefully, and we are enjoying it. We love it. We thank the Lord for it. And guess what?
What?
Maybe our guys in the control room can show you a little shot of Mount Ashland because it was snowing up there the other day.
Well, we got snow levels 3,800 feet today.
Well, there you go.
Going up to about 4,500 feet. And we're looking at the top of our zone there. Our footprint's getting pretty big. That was Portland.
Yeah.
All the way down to our new friends in Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
We have increasing clouds, a high of about 80.
80 in Vegas today?
Gusty winds this afternoon, yeah. All right. Well, for those who...
By the way, the Ducks and the 49ers one down?
Yeah, boy.
Ooh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Ooh, boy. We don't talk about that. Move on to your story.
We just did.
Oh, there it
look
is.
at this.
Is that Ashland, guys?
Oh.
Is that Ashland? There you go. Look at that.
Oh, hey, did I tell you, without snow, right there, did I tell you the major accomplishment that happened Saturday morning?
I hear you.
Uh-huh. I had my PJs on, but I got my ski boot on.
Does Pam know that?
Yeah, she was like, honey, are you sure?
Pam.
Are you sure?
Pam, there's some things that pills and counseling don't fix.
Okay, moving on. For those who have grown up with it, what happened on this day in history may not seem significant, but for those who have lived through it, we have seen how it literally changed our lives.
On October 13th, 1983, the future of communication began ringing, literally. That day, Ameritech Mobile Communications, now part of Singular, launched the first U.S. cellular network in Chicago, Illinois. It was the start of the technological revolution. The first call made was from a 2-pound Motorola Dynatac, a phone the size of a brick that cost nearly $4,000 and gave you 30 minutes of talk time and 10 hours to recharge. But it marked a turning point. People could finally make calls without being tied to a landline. From that single network in Chicago, mobile service spread across the nation and soon the world. What began with static-filled analog signals paved the way for texting, smartphones, and the instant connectivity we now take for granted.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. I have not seen a comparable chart of all the cell phone offerings.
That's a great point.
You know, where you see AT&T,
right.
U.S. Cellular, all these,
T-Mobile,
Verizon, all that.
yes.
Have you ever seen a comparison sheet on them?
No, not really. And we're shopping right now because we're at that point where
Are you?
Yeah, we're time, and we're having some trouble with the coverage in our zone right now. So you know, you look at the options and you shop around, and it's kind of interesting. There are some real differences out there.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, Charlie Kirk, we miss him. Just an amazing young man. He will be honored at the White House tomorrow. And by the way, Turning Point America is offering an alternative halftime show to the Super Bowl.
Fantastic.
And I hope it just blows the ratings off the doors off the ratings.
Yeah.
Anyway, he lists 5 ways the enemy tries to trap believers and the biblical way to overcome it.
Satan is able to capture believers in 3 ways. Let me also say this, though. For those of you that are elders in the church, you are especially targeted for attack from the enemy. It says that very clearly in the scriptures, if anyone here is an elder of this wonderful church. So number 1, Satan tries to get you through your vows. I will never take another drink again. Don't say that. You are not capable of doing that. The self-control is a fruit of the Spirit. It says it very clearly in the scriptures. Instead, you should say, only thanks to the power of Jesus Christ would I ever not be able to take another drink again. That is a completely different thing than saying I alone can take on the evil and the devices of Satan. Completely and totally different. And Jesus said this. He said, do not make earthly vows. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. As soon as you take a vow, what is Satan? He's a taunter. He's able then to taunt you with your own vow, right? You said you would never do this again. Come on, let's see how strong you are. All of a sudden, it's held over your head. Instead, you should say, I am not enough. Jesus, take my place and fight the spiritual battle for me. Please, Jesus, come into my life. And that surrender, that true unconditional admission that you cannot fight that spiritual battle is incredibly liberating. And Jesus will come in and will win that battle. But here's the second way, is that Satan takes hold when we are disobedient, especially in terms of the flesh. Satan is a master of being able to capture us when we engage in repetitive, intentional, fleshly sin. We all know what that is. I don't need to overemphasize that. You know what that is. It's when we decide that things that feel good, that we know that are not good for us, especially in the sexual domain, that's where Satan is licking his chops and he knows he's got you. He knows that's where human beings are in some ways at their weakest. This is why it says in the New Testament, flee from sexual immorality. And it goes on to say that Satan prowls the earth, in 1 Peter, prowls the earth like a lion looking for those to devour. It's a pretty profound statement, isn't it? Now again, I'm not sure any of you expected to come at an 8 a.m. service and hear about Satan, but you'll be glad you did because he's real, okay? The third thing is by who you surround yourself with and what you put into your mind and what you put into your soul. This is a very important thing, that you are a combined moving average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Go home tonight and list the people you spend the most time with, the 5 people you spend the most time with. Not your 5 best friends, not the 5 people you want to be with, but just an allotment of time.
Where did this young man get such insight?
Yeah, he's a great preacher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, he'll be honored tomorrow at the White House. And his wife will be there. Pretty remarkable. All right, we'll take a quick rainy day break. We'll be right back.
The only thing that matters is your love, your love. That's all I have to give. Your love is enough to light up the darkness.
At Rogue Hearing in Phoenix, we help you hear life again, clearly and comfortably. From expert hearing tests to custom aids and more, the team at Rogue Hearing delivers care you can trust. Rogue Hearing in Phoenix at the shops at Exit 24. Personalized hearing care right here at home.
Every day in Southern Oregon, lives are shaken by poverty, violence, and hardship. Last year alone, the Salvation Army reached more than 11,000 people in Jackson County with food, shelter, and critical support. Behind every meal served, every family housed, and every life restored, there's a volunteer making it happen. Please join us. There are many ways you can volunteer and make a difference in someone's life today. The Salvation Army doing the most good together. This message made possible by the Oregon Health Authority Hospital-Based Intervention Grant.
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at applegaterv.com.
Stewardship begins with the knowledge that nothing belongs to us, but everything belongs to the Lord. This helps us to run a business not in the fear of lack, but in the assurance of His care and provision. Such a perspective eliminates the drive to sell and replaces it with a heart that says serve. This begins with serving our clients and coworkers with integrity and genuine care. That's why at Kelly's, it's automotive service with a heart for God and treating others as we ourselves would want to be treated. Our promise is to never sell our clients anything we don't believe they need. Another is to do all we can to meet other needs, such as shuttle service and loaner cars, or taking the time to really listen, even at times praying with our customers. Sometimes this means sacrifice, going above and beyond, but that's why I work for Kelly's Automotive Service, honoring God while serving people with honesty and integrity.
Okay, welcome back on this rainy Monday morning, Columbus Day. So a lot of the banks and offices are closed today. It's no longer Indigenous Day, it's Columbus Day. It's been restored by the president. Well, listen, Friday I had Ruthie Bloom on. Now, she used to be inside the office with the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. She's now chief editor and reporter for the Jewish News Syndicate. And we talked Friday about the what if and the what will be and what could be in the way of the hostages being released. Now, understand, this is before they were released because they were just released a few hours ago. But here's what she had to say.
It's an exchange of innocent Israeli hostages for terrorists, 250 of whom have actual blood on their hands. So that's the exchange, and that is starting to happen. The list of the terrorists was already submitted, and some of the loved ones of the people killed by those terrorists are appealing to the court, and it's a process that goes on. They won't win those appeals, but they're making a statement saying, please don't release that particular terrorist because he stabbed my daughter to death, or that one who car rammed my son to death, and that kind of thing. Anyway, but the 48 hostages that are who are being released, there are 20 live ones and 28 dead bodies. And these are all supposed to be released within now 70, well, it was 72 hours from noon Israel time when the ceasefire went into effect, and the Israeli army withdrew all of its troops to what is called the Yellow Line that is drawn in Gaza, leaving a security perimeter for Israel. So those forces are remaining behind that line. In the last 2 years, we saw hostage releases in spurts. So we sort of got used to that. The hostages will be delivered to the Red Cross. The Red Cross will deliver them to the Israeli border, where the army will be waiting for them, and perhaps ambulances as well, and helicopters to take them to one of 3 hospitals, depending on their physical condition, which apparently is really terrible. So some of them may be rushed immediately to intensive care. We don't know exactly. But from the films that Hamas released of some of these hostages, they are starving them and torturing them, and they've lost most of their body weight, etc. So they're very, very weak and very ill. So we'll see.
Well, they have been released. 20 of them, the live ones, have been released. I don't know about the 28 deceased. That's yet to be notified of that. They have been released. Some have already been reunited with their families. This is pretty amazing. And earlier today, the Red Cross went in there, got them, and moved them out. So,
well, and of course we see, the release of the hostages. We haven't really mentioned on the other side, though. Israel is releasing almost 2,000 Hamas combatants,
and very bad people.
Very bad people.
So we'll see. And by the way, this is phase 1. Phase 2 is a whole nother discussion for another day. So anyway, John O'Connor will be with me a little bit later on. Look forward to talking to him about all kinds of things legal.
Yeah.
Oh, especially with the lower courts trying to stop the president sending in troops.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to hear that. Well, it began with one matching Batman shirt photo, and 11 years later, they're still doing it.
For more than a decade, Nick Tommaso and his son have shared a special father-son tradition that's captured hearts online, and it all revolves around their favorite superhero. 11 years ago, when his son was born, Tommaso snapped their first picture together wearing matching Batman t-shirts. What started as a fun moment has since become an annual ritual that the pair proudly continues every year. Tommaso wrote in a Reddit post, "I wanted to share one of my favorite traditions with my son, our annual Batman picture. We've been doing this since he was born." Now that his son is 11, the duo continues to strike the same heroic pose year after year, always dressed in their favorite Batman shirts. Tommaso said he plans to keep the tradition alive for as long as possible and tries to take the photo every September 20th, which happens to be Batman Day, celebrated since 2014 to honor Batman's 75th anniversary.
It's interesting. You watch the boy growing up, but you see the hairline on Dad going further back and further back. And back. Yeah. Oh, well, whatever.
So, did you take a picture with Jonathan and Peter?
No, and I've seen these before, and there are a few famous ones. One in particular where Dad, on a beach, I think it was Coney Island, New York, through the years, stood in the same spot with his daughter, and as she grew, and he shrunk. It was an interesting progression, but I've seen those. I just never did it.
So Dad's hairs go away and ears get bigger, right?
Yeah. And nose.
Yes. All right, take with you Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29. Now listen to this. Let no corrupt word proceed out of your mouth, but what is good for necessary edification, that it may impart grace to the hearers. Why don't you be a grace distributor today? Try that. It'll change things immensely. We'll be right back.
where big ideas grow.
Combining your home and auto insurance could save you time and money. And who doesn't like that? When you want surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life, call State Farm agent Rory Wold in Medford today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Clean water is essential to your good health. Ultra Pure Purified Water has been delivering purified, healthy drinking water to the Rogue Valley since 1995. Locally owned and family run, Ultra Pure Purified Water uses a multi-stage process ensuring your delivery of water is 99.8% pure, so your family stays hydrated and healthy. Online at ultrapurewaterinc.com or call 541-734-0828. 541-734-0828.
They're fun-loving twins. They love God, hunting, and pranking each other. Join the Hamptons for outdoor adventure every weekend on Twin Factor. Brought to you by Black Flag Armory in Medford and Grants Pass. Truly excellent service.
I was 36 years old, and my wife and I decided to sell our house and buy a daytime radio station. And we moved to Southern Oregon. Our young family, we came to Southern Oregon. So I had to go out at early in the morning at sunrise, turn the station on at the transmitter site, run back into the studio, go on the air for a couple of hours, program the station during the day, and then at sunset go back out and turn the radio station off. That's how we started. And we did that for about a year and a half till we were able to get a license to stay on the air 24 hours a day. After that, that was a huge move forward, but we were still a 1,000 watt radio station. Then eventually we got another frequency and another power increase. We went from 1,000 watts to 20,000 watts AM.
The Dove Radio, celebrating 65 years, encouraging and informative. Get the day's top news from a Christian worldview. CBN Newswatch, weekdays at noon and 4:30 on the Dove TV, encouraging and informative. You're tuned to the Dove, encouraging and informative. Helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on the Dove.
And good morning to you. Happy Monday. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove. Jerry Bilden is here. That's him. That's what he looks like.
Good morning.
In real life. Anyway. Good morning to you. Historic day. I mean, historic day. Just a few hours ago, look at this picture. This is the Red Cross bringing the 20 live hostages out of Hamas control and back to medical care and their loved ones. That was several hours ago. The 20 live have been now returned. There are 28 dead hostages' bodies that still have to come out. They may be out by now, I don't know. But these are the 20 live ones, and they're being escorted out by the International Red Cross and taken quickly into medical care, and many of them have already been reunited with their families and loved ones. This is an amazing, unbelievable, over-the-top day globally. The President of the United States just got through addressing the Knesset a little while ago. We'll have some clips of that. That is an amazing day. And as we speak, he's in the air flying to Egypt to meet with 20 other Eastern leaders about continuing the peace plan. And that's phase one of the 20-point peace plan. Phase two could be a little bit different story. We'll see. But right now, the world is celebrating the fact that after 2 years, the remaining hostages have been released. This is pretty amazing. Good stuff all the way around. Happy Monday to you. It is Columbus Day, which means the banks are closed, schools are not happening, and a lot of people get to sleep in. God bless you. For the rest of us that are going to
here we are.
Here we are, keeping the economy going. We are the capitalists. We're here. We're pushing it, man. We're doing it for you. Anyway, good morning to you. What do you got? Happy
first
Monday.
of all, the president's been doing a lot of things. He's been pretty active,
right?
Including making this day Columbus Day again. And it is Columbus Day again, even though about almost 500 years before that, a Norwegian guy landed on North America. His name was Leif Erikson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Was he lost?
No Norwegian. Was he lost? He could have been, man.
I mean, who knows about him?
It's also, that's good. It's also Native American Day.
Yeah.
And it is the birthday of the United States Navy, 250 years old today, formed on this day in 1775.
Wow.
How about that?
How about
So
that?
happy birthday to the Navy and all who have served. It is also, yeah, I wonder if we can say this, but we can. It's National Kick Butt Day.
Oh.
Today to give yourself that much needed kick in the pants. It's talking about getting some stuff done. You may have been planning it. You may have been doing all the, behind the scenes, getting it ready. Well, now it's time to pull the trigger and get that project done, whatever it may be.
Get her done.
Get her done. National Kick Butt Day.
Have you ever had yours kicked?
Just recently.
Oh.
More recent than you can imagine.
I can imagine.
Yeah, okay.
Nice going, Pam.
All right, yeah, good. Yeah, good luck with that. It's also one thing to eat today, National Yorkshire Pudding Day.
Oh.
Pudding Day today. It's not to be confused with a dessert. Yorkshire pudding is a traditional English dish similar to a popover. It's made from a batter and usually served with roast meat and gravy. And cooks in the north of England devised a means of using the fat that dropped into the dripping pans, and they created a batter pudding while the meat roasted in the oven. I have never had it, and it looks delicious.
It is.
How about you?
Yeah, I've had it. I just I can't remember if it was stuffed or not. I think you can just have it plain.
Okay.
That one had gravy in it.
Yeah.
You can put syrup over it.
Gravy sounds good.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, well, it is also, to pay for it all, it's also National Online Bank Day.
Yeah.
It, I think that there are some people that may still be a little bit reluctant to bank online. But speaking of online banking, 77% of Americans now prefer managing their bank accounts through a mobile app or computer. That's a lot. But still, 84% of us worry about online banking security. Unfortunately, banks fight back because they have, encryption, real-life fraud detection to protect our money. But they mention, remember, ease and convenience are great, but a strong password and careful habits are your best guards. And that brings up a pet peeve of mine. Passwords.
Oh.
The requirements for passwords these days are so difficult that with special characters, the name of my firstborn child, the date that they were, it's hard to keep it all straight.
Do you have one that you just use most of?
Yeah, I have a variation of one. I'm telling too much. And it gets deeper with each place that needs more to authenticate. So I have like 3 levels of password that come off of a cornerstone. And but you know what it inevitably boils down to? If I'm doing something, say I'm doing it on my Amazon account or one of the other apps that we have, and I have to get a password to get into it, it goes like this: ring, ring, ring. Honey, what's my password for Amazon?
Well,
and she goes, hold on, I got it written down here. And that's how I get them.
I want you to know how I got rich all of a sudden.
Okay, how?
Okay, I used capital J, E-R-R-Y, capital B, 7-0. It got me into a lot of stuff.
Hey, man, you just shared that with the world. That's pretty good. Well, good luck.
Exclamation point.
There's not a lot there to enjoy it.
Hey, by the way, just a little reminder. Tomorrow, today's the 13th. Tomorrow's the 14th. And tomorrow, they're asking people to wear red because tomorrow will be the 32nd birthday of Charlie Kirk. And they're calling it Wear Red Day. And that's why the president is going to scurry on back to Washington to give him the Presidential Freedom Award.
All right.
So, All right. Well, so much for that. But it is raining, it is snowing, it is huffing and puffing, and here is Mr. Capital J, E-R-R-Y, capital B, 70 exclamation point.
A look at our weather from Grange Co-op. Today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, cloudy with a chance of showers before 11 a.m., then clearing to sunny to mostly sunny and breezy with highs in the mid-upper 50s for Vancouver, Portland, Wilsonville, and McMinnville. Moving down the Willamette Valley, a chance of showers, then clearing to mostly sunny and breezy with daytime highs in the upper 50s for Salem, Albany, and Corvallis with gusts up to 23 miles per hour and a high near 61 in Eugene. In central Oregon, rain in low 50s in Prineville, rain possibly mixed with snow and breezy with highs in the low to mid 40s in Bend and Sun River, mostly cloudy with a slight chance of showers in Boise, Idaho in low 60s. Along the Oregon coast, rain with a high near 60 in Coos Bay, rainy and breezy and near 58 in Port Orford, and rain this morning with highs in the mid 50s for Brookings and Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, rain with snow levels down to 3,800 feet, but rising through the day with highs in the low 50s for Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland. Rain mixed with snow, then rain in upper 40s in Klamath Falls. Into northern California, rain with a high in the low 50s in Wairika. Showers continue from Redding with a high near 51 through Chico in the upper 50s and Sacramento with a high in the low 60s. In the Bay Area, rain with the possibility of thunderstorms and highs near 60 for Santa Rosa and Napa. Showers with the possibility of thunderstorms this afternoon for San Francisco through San Jose with highs in the mid-60s. A snapshot of your Monday weather from Grange Co-op. A look at our weather from Grange Co-op.
We had a look at that. There it is.
Oh, yeah,
There's
baby.
a look of Mount Ashland.
Right.
It's snowing up there.
It is snowing pretty hard.
Yeah.
All right.
28 degrees. And then our friends in Vegas are what? 80 degrees today? We go from 28 to 80?
Yeah, increasing clouds, 80 degrees Las Vegas, a bit of a breeze. You can have gusty winds this afternoon, but all in all, not a bad day in Las Vegas.
Okay.
Well, here is Pastor Greg Laurie. He says to fear not and turn on the light of God's word.
When you're afraid in the dark, turn on the light. Look at verse 1. David says, the Lord is my light and my salvation. You say, well, but how do I do that? You turn on the light of God's word. You bring your fear in the light of the Bible, and you compare it to what the Bible says. So as we already noted, don't worry about anything, pray about everything the Bible tells us to do. So what does the Bible say about that? Did you know that the Bible uses the phrase, fear not, 365 times? Isn't that interesting? 365 times that phrase, fear not, appears in the Bible. That means there's a fear not for every day of the year, right? So turn on the light of Scripture. Psalm 119 says, your word is a lamp for my feet. It's a light for my path. Turn on the light of the word of God.
All right. It started raining.
Raining out our window back there. It is raining.
Absolutely.
All right, good stuff all the way around. All right, wow. Let's take a look at today's top story. And it happens to be the president in Israel earlier this morning addressing the Knesset. And so here's a little bit of the beginning. You'll enjoy the rain?
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
It's raining out there.
It's pretty cool.
All right, well, here he is. It's before the Knesset.
After 2 harrowing years in darkness and captivity, 20 courageous hostages are returning to the glorious embrace of their families, and it is glorious. 28 more precious loved ones are coming home at last to rest in this sacred soil for all of time. And after so many years of unceasing war and endless danger, today the skies are calm, the guns are silent, the sirens are still, and the sun rises on a holy land that is finally at peace, a land and a region that will live, God willing, in peace for all eternity. This is not only the end of a war, this is the end of an age of terror and death and the beginning of the age of faith and hope and of God. It's the start of a grand concord and lasting harmony for Israel and all the nations of what will soon be a truly magnificent region. I believe that so strongly. This is the historic dawn of a new Middle East. I want to express my gratitude to a man of exceptional courage and patriotism, whose partnership did so much to make this momentous day possible. You know who I'm talking about. There's only one, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Bibi, please stand up. And he is not easy, I want to tell you. He's not the easiest guy to deal with, but that's what makes him great. That's what makes him great.
Yeah, a little bit of an insight there. And when you show wide shots of the Knesset and the president speaking there's this group, kind of like it is at the joint session of Congress, where they don't stand for even the flag anymore.
Right.
But anyway, so they have their the people that don't agree with it,
right.
But a vast majority of the Knesset was shouting Bibi, 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 Bibi.
Yeah.
So here's a little bit more of the president who kind of zeroes in on what is and has taken place today.
With this week's ceasefire, we've achieved the most challenging breakthrough of them all. The most challenging breakthrough maybe ever. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. I've been involved in a lot of success. I have never seen anything like what's going on today all over the world. People are dancing in the streets, not just in Israel. They're dancing in the streets of countries that would have never danced in the street about what's happening today. They're dancing in those streets. So this long and difficult war has now ended. You know, some people say 3,000 years, some people say 500 years, whatever it is. It's the granddaddy of them all. And in an unprecedented achievement, virtually the entire region has endorsed the plan that Gaza will be immediately demilitarized, that Hamas will be disarmed, and Israel's security will no longer be threatened in any way, shape, or form.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty interesting. In this last clip, he begins to talk about the Middle East as a whole. Now, keep in mind, this was a couple of hours ago, live there at the Knesset in Jerusalem. The president now is on his way. He may already be there to Egypt to meet with 20 of the other Middle East leaders to bring about what they're calling perhaps the Board of Peace.
Of course, who's going to be the chair?
Well, he mentions that. He kind of mentions that. Listen to this.
The world wanted peace, and Israel wanted peace. Everybody did. Everybody did. And what a victory it's been, right? What a victory it's been. If you would have gone on for 3, 4 more years, keep fighting, it was getting bad. It was getting heated. The timing of this is brilliant. And I said, Bibi, you're going to be remembered for this far more than if you kept this thing going, kill. It would be it would not be the same. And I just want to congratulate you for having the courage to say, that's it, we've won, and now let's enjoy our lives and let's rebuild Israel and make it stronger and bigger and better than it's ever been before. We're going to do that. Took a lot of guts. And the choice for Palestinians could not be more clear. This is their chance to turn forever from the path of terror and violence. It's been extreme, to exile the wicked forces of hate that are in their midst, and I think that's going to happen. I've met some people over the last couple of months that want to see it happen very much, and after tremendous pain and death and hardship, now is the time to concentrate on building their people up instead of trying to tear Israel down. We don't want that to happen again. And the total focus of Gazans must be on restoring the fundamentals of stability, safety, dignity, and economic development so they can finally have the better life that their children really do deserve after all these decades of horror. I intend to be a partner in this effort in the sense that we're going to help and we're going to do something that became unbelievably popular. Everybody wants to be on it. It's called the Board of Peace, okay? How about that? Is that a beautiful name? Like a board of peace. The only bad thing from my standpoint, every single nation involved has asked me to be the chair, and I'll tell you, I'm very busy. I didn't count on that, but you know what? If we do it, we'll do it right, and we have unbelievable power and wealth, because you're going to need wealth. You're going to need wealth to rebuild things, and they have wealth like few people have wealth. I want to thank the Arab and Muslim nations for their commitment, because they've made to support a safe rebuilding of Gaza and beyond. I have many Arab countries, very wealthy countries, that came up and said, we'll put up tremendous amounts of money to get rebuild Gaza. And I think that's going to happen. The power, they want dignity, they want to come forward, and they want to say, and I want to say who they are, because what they're doing is going to be, I think, something that you're going to be very impressed with, Bibi. And you need that. You need the kind of economic power that they have, and they want to see it work.
Okay, so he's probably there now in Egypt, so historic day in the Middle East and around the world. A couple other quick headlines. The president continues to work with Ukraine. Now, this is the other war between, as you know, Russia and Ukraine. The president continues to work with Ukraine in mounting long-range missile strikes on Russia's energy facilities, electric plants and otherwise. All of this is to weaken the economy and force President Putin to the negotiating table. Now, you got to remember, the president uses words, and if that doesn't work, then he uses action, and hopefully that can return back to words. But he's actually working with Ukraine and using America's intelligence to target these energy sites in Russia. The other story is that the president has made a move to go ahead and pay the U.S. troops in spite of Schumer's shutdown. As you know, the government is now on day 11 of a shutdown, and it's weakening by the moment. It's pretty much known now as Schumer's shutdown. Even the legacy media is beginning to recognize this. Yeah. So the president said, well, forget you guys. I'm going to go ahead and pay the military anyway. Right. And rightfully so. So we'll see where this will go. Brian Kilmeade on Fox made the most amazing analysis earlier this morning, thinking on how the war is going, but in particular, and also, Senator Kennedy made the analysis on what he thinks Senator Schumer will do. And he'll basically say to a bunch of Democrats, go ahead and vote for it, and let me call you bad names, and we'll get together on the other side. So that's how the game is played in Washington. We'll see if that actually happens. So those are the top stories, and it is a big one on this Columbus Day. We'll take a rain break. We'll be right back.
Where big ideas grow.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site 24/7 in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare where your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
Buying or selling a home can be stressful. It's one of the biggest decisions you'll make in your lifetime. That's why it's important to work with someone you trust, someone who has the right experience and knowledge of the market.
Hi, we're Patrick and Paulina Lizer with Lizer Real Estate Group.
And whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, our mission is to take the stress out of the transaction and make it as seamless and rewarding as possible.
Contact us today. We look forward to working with you.
Welcome back on this rainy Monday. Happy Columbus Day. See, schools are closed, banks are closed, government offices are closed. So Jerry and I are here to keep commerce going.
We're open.
We're open.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, some backyard stories. Portland continues to be in the news as Portlanders now are awaiting the ruling from the lower court and the higher courts as to whether or not the president can go ahead and send the National Guard in. They continue to protest through the evenings, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night, and they continue to protest. The police department in Portland, the mayor, has removed the police line. In other words, the police were instructed to protect the buildings up to a certain point. That line has been removed. And so here we go. In the meantime, federal workers in federal buildings continue to have these massive protests against them. And now that one looked kind of peaceful because that's in the middle of the day. But what's happening at night is another story.
Yeah, and of course we know that there are certain elements in Portland who are saying this is wrong, the president can't do this, we don't want troops in here, except when you talk to the people who live in the neighborhood. They have a whole different frame of mind on this thing, don't they?
Yeah.
But we'll watch it play out.
All right, coming up in the November ballot. Yes, in November, we have an election in the state of Oregon. There'll be 6 tax increases on the ballot of various types throughout the entire state. Be ready for that. People are asking, where is the petition to sign so that we can stop the big tax hike that the governor's put on us? And the only thing I can tell you is it's a little bit of a logistical thing. The governor doesn't have to sign that thing until 30 days after it passed the legislature, which that is coming up. And then after that, the rule says you have 90 days, but we don't have 90 days. We'll only have 60.
Right, we can't start signing petitions until she signs, right?
Until she signs.
Okay.
And so that, we needed 77,000. I think they're going to go for 150+ thousand to ensure your concerns, which is how do you protect all this stuff?
Right, because, you know, it's something I never really thought of, but yeah, it's easy to get a sheet off of a petition thrown out by having an illegal signature or duplicate signatures, and we know that there are those on the left who are trying to thwart this effort, and they're going to do it through those means. How do you protect yourself?
Well, it's hard. That's why you have to go for more. And so we're going to have to do 150, maybe 200,000. I don't know, but it should be accomplishable once the petitions are out. The only thing I can say, if you're going to work with the petition drive, the first thing you do is take it to people you know.
You're right. Right.
And you should be able to secure this pretty fast. I would get a sheet of people you know and then turn those sheets in.
Hey,
you know.
Can I take it to church?
The answer is yes.
I can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The ballot measures can be talked and dealt with all day long. We still have the Johnson Amendment as it deals with candidates, but that's another issue.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Over the weekend, Hollywood kind of lost a sweetheart. Still a little bit of a mystery, but Diane Keaton passed away suddenly over the weekend. She was 79 years old, and 79 years old. We're not sure what happened. They say that her health declined very rapidly within the last couple of weeks. There was a 911 call. We don't know much about that, and she passed this weekend. So she kind of ended up being a Hollywood sweetheart in some ways, you know, a lot of interesting movies, and but, you know, kind of sad.
Yeah,
and kind of young.
Memorable roles. She was in Annie Hall. She was in The Godfather. And yeah, but still no information coming out as to what happened.
We don't know.
Yeah.
She lost a lot of weight in a short amount of time, and she was gone. So, all right, those are the top stories on this Monday, Columbus Day, rainy day, and history is continuing to be made as we speak. And we'll keep you posted as the morning moves on. We'll be right back. What did I do?
Oh, we're going to go stocks.
I keep doing this.
Yeah, it's okay. Stocks are...
I'm sorry.
It's going to happen.
I don't think there's a stock market today, is there?
Oh.
Is there a stock market today?
Apparently there is. We're up.
Well, see how smart I am.
What?
I'm not very smart.
Well,
Preston, thank you at Smart Lawn. A good day to be there. Look at that, 484, almost 485 points. I'm sure that's because of the Middle East. Wow. Sorry about that. NAS is up 457 points, and the S&P up 97, almost 98. Those are record numbers. That pushed gold up to 41.13. Wow. Look at that. Silver has broke $50 an ounce. And crude oil's up, but actually down a little bit, $63.44. I'm sorry, I didn't think Wall Street was working today, but what do I know? I just, well, you know, maybe it's time for me to take naps.
Yeah, it's been time for me for a long time.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Well, okay, so now with the peace deal in the Middle East, a little more scrutiny and focus perhaps on the conflict between Russia and Ukraine.
Yeah, I think that's where the focus is going to go.
Okay, well, Newsmax's Greta Van Susteren talked with the former British Prime Minister about Vladimir Putin and the pressure that he may be under at home.
No, no, and I think fair play to President Trump. He had to try, right?
Yeah, no, I agree.
He had to try. You know, when you have something like that, and he's got a previous relationship with Putin, he had to see whether that was worth anything, and it's been proved to be worth.
Have you ever met Putin?
Yes.
What do you think of him? What is he like?
Yeah, he's small. I would say he's a bit sort of goblin-like, you know, faintly like Gollum in the Lord of the Rings, if you've ever seen that.
Yeah.
Sort of pixie-like. He speaks surprisingly good English, actually. Surprisingly good English, and you know he's smart, but he's having terrible trouble. If you look, the Ukrainians have taken out huge quantities of his oil refinery capabilities. You've got big queues in Russia now for petrol. The price of oil is really hurting him. He's having to import oil from other countries because his refineries are all being blown up by the Ukrainians. His economy is in a very, very bad way. And I think that President Trump has a goal. And I bet he'll claim that he's disappointed about the Nobel Prize, right? And he'll say, "Oh, this should have been given to me." Though I saw that Machado, who got it,
she tipped her hat. She
gave a generous tribute to him, and quite rightly. But if he wants, that thing is nailed on for Donald Trump. If he now puts the same pressure on Putin that he's just put on Hamas, and he can fix this thing.
Stand by, that's coming.
Yeah, I think so.
Because we're already working with Ukraine, about missiles targeting energy sites. Wow.
That's a vulnerability with them because we know that obviously a lot of the funding of this war has come from their energy sales. Well, unfortunately, by a lot of European players.
What's so interesting about that is how unsophisticated the Russian military department is, and how unprepared and how unorganized and how poorly equipped, and the list goes on and on and on. This big paper tiger, and the only thing they got, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to minimize that, they got a whole warehouse full of nukes, but everything else seems to be pretty weak.
Right.
And you kind of go, wow, what's going on with this? But I think the president is going to seize the moment. So anyway, that's what's happening out there. If I can just get my brain together. My brain is on Columbus Day, having the day off.
Okay. Well, maybe we could knock it off about, 7:30-ish.
No, I got it. Hey, what's that little pudding thing we're having?
Yorkshire pudding.
Yorkshire.
Yeah.
I need some Yorkshire pudding with either whipped cream on it.
Okay. Okay.
Or, you know, like a pot roast gravy over the top.
Oh, now that I could go for that one.
We'll be right back.
Thank you very much.
I believe it. There is a God. I can feel it. I can feel it. Oh, there is a God. And the more I find, the less
Finding that next great series to binge watch is fun, but your neck, shoulders, and body don't count that as me time. Hi, I'm Tamara Miller, owner of Organic Element Spa, and I invite you to put down the remote, get off the couch, and schedule yourself some real me or we time with your favorite service, like one of our many massages, couples massages, or facials. Your health, safety, and comfort are always top priority with us at Organic Element Spa. We can't wait to see you. Book your appointment today.
I had one time where I got an important phone call, and I didn't realize that I had the mic open, and nothing else was playing. And for 13 and a half minutes, I carried on a private conversation over the radio, and caring listeners started calling, trying to warn me. I've had a lot of other bloopers, but that was the one that was kind of the nail biter.
The Dove Radio, 65 years.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Now notice when Jesus called his disciples, he never hid from them the fact that to follow him meant suffering, persecution, and death. We have a great deal of what someone has called cheap grace. Easy to follow Christ. Easy to get in the church. In Jesus' day, he called them to suffering. He didn't call them to a playground. He called them to a battlefield. He called them to war, spiritual war. And he said, you're going to suffer, and you're going to be wounded, and you're going to die in my cause, because the world is going to reject me. This world that's dominated by evil and sin will reject me.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Hi, good morning to you. 26 minutes before the hour on this historic day in the Middle East and in Israel. So let's check in with CBN Newswatch and get their take.
This is CBN Newswatch.
It is Monday, the 13th of October. We're going to begin this half hour in Israel, where after 2 long years, Israelis celebrated the freedom of all 20 living hostages released from Hamas captivity. While the hostages came home, President Donald Trump landed in Israel to address Israel's parliament to celebrate the end of the war and the release of the hostages. Chris Mitchell reports now from Jerusalem on this emotional and historic day.
After more than 2 years in captivity, the 20 hostages reunited with their families. While the families received their loved ones, Israeli President Isaac Herzog and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu greeted the president at David Ben-Gurion Airport. The president then drove straight to Jerusalem, where he met with hostage families and wrote in the Knesset guest book, "This is my great honor, a great and beautiful day, a new beginning." Then he's expected to address the Knesset and invited guests. The release of the hostages marks the end of a 2-year ordeal for the people of Israel.
This is Hostage Square in the heart of Tel Aviv. It's been the emotional heartbeat for the hostages since October 7th, with thousands of yellow ribbons, flags, posters of the hostages. But now, with the release of the remaining hostages, the sense that their heart-wrenching 2-year ordeal will finally be over.
We are such a small country here that everyone knows someone. You know either a soldier, you know a hostage, you have fought. We know their stories, we know their faces, we know their names, that it's as if it could be our brother, our sister, our father, our son. So there is this incredible connection to all of them. And so the relief, the sense of joy is just overwhelming, I think, for us as a country, as a nation.
Many people look to this scripture in Jeremiah as a picture of what took place today. Thus says the Lord, refrain your voice from weeping and your eyes from tears, for your work shall be rewarded, says the Lord, and they shall come back from the land of the enemy. There is hope in your future, says the Lord, that your children shall come back to their own border.
What a day of celebration. Chris Mitchell joins us now from Jerusalem to continue our coverage. So, Chris, is the deal a victory for Israel and a defeat for Hamas after Israel used its military force to relentlessly dismantle the terror group?
Yeah, I believe it is, Ephraim. I think since the very beginning of the war, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu and his cabinet felt that the military pressure on Hamas would lead to the release of the hostages. And I think that, combined with the involvement of President Trump, who's right now at the Knesset, is really put the pressure on Hamas. And not only the pressure on Hamas, Ephraim, but the pressure on Qatar, which has really been the sponsor of Hamas since the very beginning and long before the war, to make sure that all 48 hostages would be released. We understand 20 of the living are now in Israeli soil, the 28 bodies of those deceased expected later today and maybe in a few days. But the military pressure, I think, and the involvement of President Trump with that combination with Prime Minister Netanyahu really, I think, got us to this day where all these hostages are being released.
Now, Chris, you were there in Hostage Square over the weekend. Talk about the sense there and the connection of Israelis.
Well, there were two people there that told me they could breathe again, and that was part of the message today in the Knesset. It's almost as if Israel for 2 years has been holding its breath, waiting for those 48 hostages and all the hostages to come out. And, there's a movie called 6 Degrees of Separation, Ephraim, where, 6 degrees from anybody in the world. I think that degrees of separation is almost cut in half here. Everybody knows somebody that was either a victim of October 7th, that fell in battle. So this is really a very, very emotional time for the people of Israel. Just an exciting day, but also a day of mourning for those that have perished. But this is something that people have been waiting for 2 years. And here we are on the very end of the Feast of Tabernacles, a very, very sobering but profound, joyful day for the people of Israel.
Indeed. What impact does the release of the living hostages have on Hamas and Israel?
Well, the living hostages and those dead bodies, Ephraim, were really the leverage that Hamas had over the people of Israel. They were the ultimate human shields for Israel. And so now that they are here in Israel, really Hamas doesn't have that ace in the hole, as it were, and that the best leverage they had over Israel. So that makes them more vulnerable to possible attack by Israel if Hamas violates the 20-point plan. And right now we're entering after phase one. Phase one seems to end today. Later on, President Trump will go to Sharm el-Sheikh to sign a formal ceremony about this peace plan. But this is going into phase two, where Hamas needs to disarm. It's going to be very problematic. But Hamas, without the hostages, is nothing what it was just 24 hours ago.
Well, there you go. Big day. We'll keep an eye on it. It's not over. History's still being made. The president's in Egypt. I find it interesting this morning. I'm reading some of the, how can I say this so it comes out right? The prophecies of this event.
Yeah.
So people want to know why we don't do more in prophecy. There's a reason for it, because there's too many conflicting points of view.
Yeah.
And I get some pretty hot emails, people saying you have to say this because this is what God's doing. Well, that's your opinion of what God is doing. Well, no, it's backed by these scriptures. I go, oh, boy. And then you get somebody else say, no, this is what God is doing. Right. Well, I want to be respectful here, but the bottom line is those who, I guess, are interested in prophecy and deal a lot with biblical prophecy are saying this day is, fits Scripture and some of the things that down the road.
Yeah.
I don't think, look, I'm not saying ignore it, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying there's too many opinions of it.
Right, but there are some real possibilities.
There's some real possibilities. There are some things lining up here. So, okay, let's check out the weather. It's somewhat, at times, prophetic.
A look at our weather from Grange Co-op. Today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, cloudy with a chance of showers before 11 a.m., then clearing to sunny to mostly sunny and breezy, with highs in the mid-upper 50s for Vancouver, Portland, Wilsonville, and McMinnville. Moving down the Willamette Valley, a chance of showers, then clearing to mostly sunny and breezy with daytime highs in the upper 50s for Salem, Albany, and Corvallis, with gusts up to 23 miles per hour and a high near 61 in Eugene. In Central Oregon, rain in low 50s in Prineville, rain possibly mixed with snow and breezy with highs in the low to mid 40s in Bend and Sun River, mostly cloudy with a slight chance of showers in Boise, Idaho, and low 60s. Along the Oregon coast, rain with a high near 60 in Coos Bay, rainy and breezy and near 58 in Port Orford, and rain this morning with highs in the mid 50s for Brookings and Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, rain with snow levels down to 3,800 feet, but rising through the day with highs in the low 50s for Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland. Rain mixed with snow, then rain in upper 40s in Klamath Falls. Into northern California, rain with a high in the low 50s in Wairika. Showers continue from Redding with a high near 51 through Chico in the upper 50s and Sacramento with a high in the low 60s. In the Bay Area, rain with the possibility of thunderstorms and highs near 60 for Santa Rosa and Napa. Showers with the possibility of thunderstorms this afternoon for San Francisco through San Jose with highs in the mid-60s. A snapshot of your Monday weather from Grange Co-op.
A snapshot of Mount Ashland receiving some snow, 28 degrees up there, some good snowfall up there.
Wow.
Contrasted with our new viewers in Las Vegas, high today of 80.
Yeah, a bit breezy and some gathering clouds this afternoon, but 80 degrees in Las Vegas. Have a good day.
All right.
All right. Well, for those who have grown up with it, what happened on this day in history has very little significance. But for those of us who lived through it, it literally changed our lives.
On October 13th, 1983, the future of communication began ringing, literally. That day, Ameritech Mobile Communications, now part of Singular, launched the first U.S. cellular network in Chicago, Illinois. It was the start of the technological revolution. The first call made was from a 2-pound Motorola Dynatac, a phone the size of a brick that cost nearly $4,000 and gave you 30 minutes of talk time and 10 hours to recharge. But it marked a turning point. People could finally make calls without being tied to a landline. From that single network in Chicago, mobile service spread across the nation and soon the world. What began with static-filled analog signals paved the way for texting, smartphones, and the instant connectivity we now take for granted.
You said you had one of those phones?
I did. I remember trying to make a deal, a radio deal. We were driving around somewhere up around Portland and doing something. We're out towards Mount Hood. And I was trying to put together this deal on buying a radio station, another radio station.
Oh.
And I had this phone that came over on the Ark. You know. Anyway, I remember having it. Yeah, it cost a lot of money. It didn't do anything.
Yeah, well, my first one was a bag phone, you know, and I had it in a car with me, and it was expensive, and it was expensive to make calls.
Right.
But, you know, this whole process, you know, we look at technology and what it's done in our lifetime. I think the most difficult would be for me to explain to my grandparents is computers and the internet and what was built in the early 90s. Remember, they called it the information superhighway.
Yeah.
And what that does. And then how do you explain to them that it's all available now on a phone?
Well,
I mean, it's crazy.
I remember when phones were first coming, but when computers came, everybody thought it was the mark of the beast.
Oh.
You know?
Well, is it?
Well, today I think you have it.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Can you do commerce without this thing?
Oh, well, we were talking National Banking Day. We do it on our phones.
See?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, don't write me a letter. I don't need that one. Wow. Okay, Charlie Kirk, the president, you know, is in the Middle East. He will be leaving Egypt within the next couple of hours after he has a meeting, flying all the way back to Washington to be in Washington tomorrow, which would be have been the 32nd birthday of Charlie Kirk, to present his family and his wife with the highest civilian honor that a civilian can get. But anyway, he was quite a guy, a young man, very sharp, and he gives several ways the enemy tries to trap believers and biblical ways to overcome that.
Satan is able to capture believers in 3 ways. Let me also say this, though. For those of you that are elders in the church, you are especially targeted for attack from the enemy. It says that very clearly in the scriptures, if anyone here is an elder of this wonderful church. So number 1, Satan tries to get you through your vows. I will never take another drink again. Don't say that. You are not capable of doing that. The self-control is a fruit of the Spirit. It says it very clearly in the Scriptures. Instead, you should say, only thanks to the power of Jesus Christ would I ever not be able to take another drink again. That is a completely different thing than saying, I alone can take on the evil and the devices of Satan. Completely and totally different. And Jesus said this. He said, do not make earthly vows. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. As soon as you take a vow, what is Satan? He's a taunter. He's able then to taunt you with your own vow, right? You said you would never do this again. Come on, let's see how strong you are. All of a sudden, it's held over your head. Instead, you should say, I am not enough. Jesus, take my place and fight the spiritual battle for me. Please, Jesus, come into my life. And that surrender, that true unconditional admission that you cannot fight that spiritual battle is incredibly liberating. And Jesus will come in and will win that battle. But here's the second way, is that Satan takes hold when we are disobedient, especially in terms of the flesh. Satan is a master of being able to capture us when we engage in repetitive, intentional, fleshly sin. We all know what that is. I don't need to overemphasize that. You know what that is. It's when we decide that things that feel good, that we know that are not good for us, especially in the sexual domain, that's where Satan is licking his chops and he knows he's got you. He knows that's where human beings are in some ways at their weakest. This is why it says in the New Testament, flee from sexual immorality. And it goes on to say that Satan prowls the earth, in 1 Peter, prowls the earth like a lion looking for those to devour. It's a pretty profound statement, isn't it? Now again, I'm not sure any of you expected to come at an 8 a.m. service and hear about Satan, but you'll be glad you did because he's real, okay? The third thing is by who you surround yourself with and what you put into your mind and what you put into your soul. This is a very important thing, that you are a combined moving average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Go home tonight and list the people you spend the most time with, the 5 people you spend the most time with. Not your 5 best friends, not the 5 people you want to be with, but just an allotment of time.
Well, there you go. Such an amazing young man, so young, that had such a grip on Scripture. Yeah. And wow. But tomorrow will be a special day at the White House, as he will be given the highest civilian honor by the president. He will be honored, I should say, and his family will be receiving that. So, wow. All right, we'll take a rain break. We'll be right back.
I hear you singing over me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. And it's beautiful, amazing grace, how sweet the sound. It covers every part of me. My soul is silent, I am found. And it's a beautiful sound.
Hi, I'm Sherry Breslin with Rogue Valley Security. Whether it's alarms, cameras, keyless entry, or even Starlink, we tailor solutions for your home or business. We believe in professionalism, excellence, and integrity. Every job, every time. Visit RogueValleySecurity.com.
Men of Southern Oregon, we are thrilled to announce that our next Game Changers, we are bringing in author and speaker Lee Strobel. If you're not familiar with Lee Strobel, he wrote The Case for Faith, The Case for Christ. He is the man behind the movie The Case for Christ, and he's got a new book out called Seeing the Supernatural. Recently, he's been featured on The Sean Ryan Show. He's been featured on Tucker Carlson. A lot of his books address big questions that believers have, and even the unbelieving world, about heaven, about Jesus. Can we trust the resurrection? He was formerly an atheist, and through his research, he came to the faith. I'm super excited for you guys to experience Game Changers at Edgewater Christian Fellowship with Lee Strobel. Get signed up. It's November 2nd, 6 p.m. God bless you guys.
Every day in Southern Oregon, lives are shaken by poverty, violence, and hardship. Last year alone, the Salvation Army reached more than 11,000 people in Jackson County with food, shelter, and critical support. Behind every meal served, every family housed, and every life restored, there's a volunteer making it happen. Please join us. There are many ways you can volunteer and make a difference in someone's life today. The Salvation Army doing the most good together. This message made possible by the Oregon Health Authority Hospital-Based Intervention Grant.
They're fun-loving twins. They love God, hunting, and pranking each other. Join the Hamptons for outdoor adventure every weekend on Twin Factor. Brought to you by Black Flag Armory in Medford and Grants Pass. Truly excellent service.
Welcome back. Happy Monday, better known as Columbus Day, and this is a live shot of the Las Vegas airport this morning. We're on Channel 6 in Las Vegas. If you know any people down there, tell them to tune in to the Dove on Channel 6.
That's
pretty
great.
cool. All right, good morning to you. The big day in the Middle East. And Friday, before all this happened, I had Ruthie Bloom on. Now, Ruthie is, she was in the Prime Minister's office with Benjamin Netanyahu. Now she's one of the chief editors of the Jewish News Syndicate, which is the go-to place. JNS News is the go-to place there in Israel to find out what's going on. So we had a long talk about what today was going to be all about, and this is what she had to say Friday about today.
As for the prisoner release, well, we're also unfortunately used to that. As you know, or maybe your viewers don't know this, but in a prisoner release in 2011, in exchange for one Israeli soldier named Gilad Shalit, Israel released something like 1,100 Palestinian terrorists. Among those was Sinwar, the orchestrator of the October 7th massacre. Sinwar is the man who, while he was in Israeli prison, was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and Israeli doctors saved his life. And then when he was released back into Gaza, he began preparations, to annihilate Israel. And he tried it on October 7th. I mean, Hamas has already said, well, it depends what you mean by disarmament. We can disarm our heavy weapons, but not our light weapons, etc. Look, Hamas is going to try any stunt it can. At the moment, thank goodness, we have President Trump totally backing any Israeli move in the event that Hamas pulls a stunt. Not only that, but we're hearing that the United States is going to send some 400 troops from CENTCOM to monitor the implementation of the plan, of the Trump plan. And so in the meantime, we're all very nervous, but also optimistic. We're optimistic not because it's great to release all these prisoners, et cetera, but because we know that we have backing. We know that this time around, we're not going to have our hands tied if we need to deal with the threat again.
That's an interesting point.
It is an interesting point. And the other thing is that you just have to remember that the hope in this is new generation of leadership in the Middle East. If that doesn't happen, then the old dogs are still there, and it's problematic. So. All right. We don't have time for you, do we?
Yeah, I think.
do you? Go ahead.
Sure, let's do it.
Yeah, okay.
It began with matching Batman T-shirts, and it continues to this day. Check it out.
For more than a decade, Nick Tommaso and his son have shared a special father-son tradition that's captured hearts online, and it all revolves around their favorite superhero. 11 years ago, when his son was born, Tommaso snapped their first picture together wearing matching Batman T-shirts. What started as a fun moment has since become an annual ritual that the pair proudly continues every year. Tommaso wrote in a Reddit post, "I wanted to share one of my favorite traditions with my son, our annual Batman picture. We've been doing this since he was born." Now that his son is 11, the duo continues to strike the same heroic pose year after year, always dressed in their favorite Batman shirts. Tomaso said he plans to keep the tradition alive for as long as possible and tries to take the photo every September 20th, which happens to be Batman Day, celebrated since 2014 to honor Batman's 75th anniversary.
Pretty cool. I don't think you could put Pete on your lap anymore. Jonathan maybe, but not Pete.
It's a done deal.
There you go. All right, take with you Ephesians 4, verse 29. Let no corrupt word proceed out of your mouth, but what is good for necessary edification, that it might impart grace to the hearers. Why don't you be a grace distributor today? Okay? Take that with you today. Stick around. We got some great conversation coming up.
The threat of wildfire poses a growing risk to Oregonians. You can prepare now by taking 3 important steps. Create a home inventory, make copies of important financial records, and contact your insurance company to make sure you have the right amounts and types of home insurance coverage. Be wildfire ready by being insurance ready. Visit dfr.oregon.gov/prepare now to learn how.
Where big ideas grow.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Jesus says this in John 15, verses 8 and 16. You bring glory to my Father. You want to bring glory to Father? Here's how you do it. You bring glory to my Father, and you show you're my disciples. You want to prove you're really a follower of Christ? You show you're my disciples by bearing much fruit. Notice that word, much fruit. God wants a big family. He says, I chose you and I've called you to bear fruit, fruit that will last. Now, I want you to notice from that verse, Jesus says, God expects me, and he expects you, and he expects this church to bear much fruit. So that's what we're going to believe God for. And even more important is that God promises and God guarantees your fruitfulness in life if you follow certain instructions.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
I felt very powerless, that fear of not knowing if she's going to be okay. They told me that, Mr. Allred, right now we're just trying to keep your wife comfortable. I prayed to the Lord, please, Lord, let me get there. Let me give her a kiss. Let me hold her hand one more time. Seeing her in that, you had to take a deep breath and stand next to her bedside and just pray again.
Monday on the 700 Club, right here on the Dove TV.
God's eternal power and divine nature are seen in creation. But in a world blinded by darkness, the Life Outdoors is here to pull back the veil. The mountains don't lie. Truth leads to Jesus. Wake the wild within.
You're watching the Dove TV, encouraging and informative for Salem, Portland, and the Willamette Valley. Seen on KWVT 17 and these Dove TV affiliates.
Well, welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson, and been looking forward to our special guest today, former Congressman Jim Renacci with us. He is from Ohio's 16th District and a longtime entrepreneur. He was raised in Pennsylvania, and he was the first in his family to graduate from college and later moved to Ohio, where he built more than 60 businesses, created over 1,500 jobs. After the Obama administration takeover in 2009, the GM takeover forced him to close his dealership. Then he ran for Congress, winning in 2010. And in Washington, he served on the Financial Services, Ways and Means and Budget Committee. So pretty experienced. He does have a website, Jim Renacci, and that's spelled RENACCI.com. And there's a picture of his landing page. Congressman, good to see you, friend. How are you today?
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
You bet.
I'm doing great.
Well, just first of all, what do you think about this day in the Middle East? What's your feelings?
Well, look, I think everybody in the world should be happy to see what's going on today in the Middle East. It's a great opportunity for peace there. I think it's important, and I applaud everyone who's been able to get this done, and especially President Trump. I'm happy to see that we're able to move forward. I just hope it's a lasting peace, which is the real key.
This is phase one. Phase two could be problematic based upon the fact that it means the disarmament of Hamas, and they can't have a part of the new government. Do you think that's going to be a little bit of a challenge?
Absolutely, and I do think that will be the issue that will come forward with making sure that Hamas is willing to follow through on those actions. Again, it's a place where things can heat up in an hour, and that's the real key and concern that I would have.
All right. In the meantime, somewhat of a surprise, somewhat no surprise that the president did not receive the Nobel Peace Prize. Now, I understand these decisions are made early on, but what's your overall thought of this? Has it been politicized or not?
Well, I think a little bit of it has been politicized. I do think that all the president has to do is keep doing what he's doing. I mean, there is no doubt that this president believes in peace around the world. He wants to see peace around the world. There are those who are going to say that he's made it too political. There are those who are going to say he hasn't done enough. I get all that. But I think if the president continues to do some of the things he is trying to accomplish, if he can get the Russian-Ukraine conflict ended, he definitely will have this Peace Prize that he should be awarded at that point.
And one last question on some of that. Where do you think the Russia-Ukraine thing is going? As you know, the president is allowing some of our intelligence to inform Ukraine to bomb energy sites, or I should say target with missile energy sites inside Russia. That's pretty significant. What's your take?
Well, look, I think at some point the United States has to be able to defend that region and that area. And I think what the president's trying to do is help Ukraine as best as he can without us getting involved and without us sending the military or our people on the ground. All of those are positives. Giving Ukraine the ability to support themselves and their country, I think is something that we should have been doing all along. Like I was always a supporter of Ukraine, only because we have to make sure dictators like Putin are not allowed to continue to take and move forward in land and grabbing land and gaining momentum. So I'm happy to see this is happening.
Were you somewhat surprised to see how unsophisticated Russia's military is?
I really was surprised. But here's the thing. Russia's economy is devastated right now. And I think the best way to defeat Russia is to continue to put pressure on their economy. And because their economy is so bad, I think in a long sense, so is their military. And these are all the things that I was surprised to see. But look, this is a time that we can push Russia back. We should help. And in the end, we just don't need a dictator like Putin continuing to show the aggression that he's showing to any country.
Do you think in time, Congressman, the president will be more aggressive in putting pressure on China and India in relationship to, or in regards to their relationship with Russia?
Look, I said a long time ago, and I always said, but one of the first things I learned when I got to Washington back in 2011 was that the greatest threat to our country is some of these countries getting together, like China, like Russia. India was never talked about, but India, let's face it, they have nuclear weapons. They are a country that we need to be cautious of. But it was Iran, Iraq, Russia, China. When these countries start to come together, especially in an alliance that could be against the United States, we should fear that. And hopefully we're going to continue to put pressure on China and India to make sure that doesn't happen.
I want to come back to your service there in Washington, being part of the Ways and Means and Budget committees there. How do you, from your perspective now, post your time in Washington, how do you think our economy is doing?
Well, look, I was happy to be part of the 2017 Tax Cut and Jobs Cut bill. I think that was a good step forward to making our economy grow and prosper. I think we have to continue to, I was happy to see that we were able to extend those tax cuts and continue to move that forward. Do I think our economy can get better? Absolutely. Do I think it can get worse? Yes. I'm happy to see that we're continuing to move forward, but I'm cautiously concerned in a lot of areas. I do think the tariffs will start to raise some prices up. And at the same time, I fear that, we have to be watching these unemployment numbers as well. All of these things are problematic in many ways. And our debt really does scare me. It scared me in 2011 when it was $9 trillion. I worry about it now when it's 36 and 37 trillion.
How devastating and dangerous is this current shutdown?
Well, I think the shutdown, the only people that, look, first off, I always said the biggest losers in a shutdown are the American people. They lose. When it comes to political winners, there is no real political winners. In the end, that the side with the best message wins. But we need to get this country reopened. We cannot have, the problems that we're going to start to see with personnel not being available to move things forward in our government. All of these things are just going to be detrimental to our economy. We're talking about billions of dollars effect to our gross national product and our ability to grow our economy with this government shutdown. So we need to get it open. The only losers are the American people. And again, the winner politically might be one side or the other, but in the end, we don't win by shutting our government down.
I don't think us lay people understand the pressure you Congress people are under when it comes to this kind of stuff. How much? I mean, you've been there, done that. I mean, I don't know. A lot of pressure to vote one way or the other. Do you think in time, it looks like to me, Congressman, that Senator Schumer is pretty much getting tagged that this is the Schumer shutdown? Even some of the legacy media is kind of leaning in that direction. Do you think he cuts a deal with his own colleagues and say, let me call you bad names for a couple of weeks, let's get this thing behind us, or do you think he sticks it out?
I think Schumer has to stay where he's at. I mean, I hate to say it. He planted a flag. He's going to have to stay there if he's going to have any credibility. In the end, he's got to continue to push forward. If I was in his position, I would say, look, it's the Republicans who aren't willing to negotiate, which of course is what he is saying. On the other side, I mean, I'm really shocked that the Republicans, I can tell you that I lived through 2 shutdowns, and we were in Washington all the time. We were not allowed to leave. In fact, I spent New Year's Eve in Washington because of a shutdown, because we were supposed to be there showing the American people we were ready to negotiate as well. So again, I don't know who ends up being the winner or loser in this shutdown when it comes to politics. I do know one thing. Republicans support Republicans, Democrats support Democrats, but the real issue is the independents. And the independents make up a big chunk of the American voter today, and they're not happy. So they're going to continue to look at this and decide who really is at fault. And they're going to, in my opinion, in the general election, they're the ones that are going to make the decision as to who really was at fault. And I think that's why both sides need to get this thing reopened.
Okay. Do you think there's ever a balanced budget in our future?
Well, here's the sad thing, and I'm glad you brought that up. I have talked about this since 2010. I continue to talk about it. It's too easy to walk away. Nobody's talking about debts and deficits anymore. Nobody's talking about our national debt. And quite frankly, it's easy. Until you put pressure on both sides, you're never going to have a balanced budget. But if I would tell you what our greatest threat is, our greatest threat is the national debt. And at some point in time, it's going to cripple us. But it's easy as a politician in Washington to just neglect it, because you're not going to be there when basically we have the serious problems that the national debt could cause us. And I remember one of my last discussions on the budget committee, you know, I stood up and talked to a lot of my Republican colleagues and said, look, if we don't get this deficit under control, we will all be damaging the future of our country and our children and grandchildren's future. And everybody agreed. But nobody's willing to do anything, because the drivers of our debt, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and interest, are political bombs for anybody running for office. Nobody wants to talk about them, and nobody will talk about them because of that.
So, what can be done?
Well, look, I think there are a lot of things that can be done. You know, we need to reform some of these programs that nobody wants to talk about. We need to reform Medicare. We talked about it for years when I was there. We need to reform Social Security. That doesn't mean that we need to get rid of it. That doesn't mean we need to get rid of Medicare. No, those are great safety nets. Those are programs that need to continue. But there are reasons why these programs are driving up our debts and deficits, and Medicaid as well. Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security. I mean, I'll just give you a couple items. In Social Security, you know, the spouse gets 50% of whatever the working spouse was able to earn over their lifetime. Well, if the spouse never worked and can get 50% of what the working spouse was able to earn and put away, how does that ever get paid for? I use that as one example. The other example is we're investing Social Security only in Treasury bills, which, remember, make very little return. And in fact, most of the time, do not return enough to cover inflation. If we would go back, and I know people that maybe listen to your program will be mad that I say this, but if we go back to George Bush era when he wanted to allow Social Security to be invested into the stock market, well, we would have averaged 8 to 10% since that time, and the Social Security reserve account would be blossoming right now. It would be booming right now. But we've only averaged 1 or 2%, maybe 3% over that time, and inflation has outmatched that. So these are just a couple things in Social Security. Medicare, the same thing. There are answers. People just have to be willing to look at it.
Is it true that Medicare has a lot of benefits going out to people that don't qualify?
Well, I will tell you, look, I served on Ways and Means. I served on the Medicare committee that looked at this. Let's face it, it's an open door. People get whatever. I mean, I look at how much is spent in Medicare, but I'll tell you the biggest issue in Medicare that nobody wants to talk about, and it really is the driver of the problems with Medicare, is, and I think the number was 60% of the cost of Medicare are spent in the last 100 days of someone's life. And when I brought that up in Congress, people would say, shame on you for talking about that, but it is true. I mean, if you look at it, my mom, my dad have both passed away, but I look at how much was spent in the last 100 days of their lives. So I can even use my own personal example. There was a lot of money spent during those last 100 days to try and keep many individuals alive that in some cases are never going to be able to sustain life much past 6 months to a year. And until we decide how we're going to handle that, it's always going to be a big issue for Medicare.
That's pretty loaded. So are you asking the government to be the decider of who lives and doesn't?
No, absolutely not. I'm just bringing up a point
Okay.
that is where the dollars are spent.
Mhm.
And until we decide at looking at that, that's the program. That's the driver of the costs. So we either have to assume that and realize that Medicare will always be a big spend, or we have to evaluate it and determine if there's another way and if there are other issues that can be done during those last 100 days. I would never want to say, I mean, again, I got called a lot of names for bringing it up, but I'm a business person. I'm a CPA. I'm somebody who looks and evaluates numbers and then makes determinations based on that.
All right, let me take a quick break. We'll be right back. Former Congressman Jim Renacci with us. He served in Ohio's 16th district. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go. So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox. Air is life. Make it perfect.
30 seconds or less. That's the length of a soundbite in a typical news story. If you're lucky, you can't really learn much in 30 seconds. It takes time to ask questions, learn, and explore the facts to really understand. Focus Today on the Dove TV and Radio does just that. We give you an hour covering several issues and newsmakers in depth. So don't settle for quick soundbites. Get to the heart of a story and understand better. Focus Today, weekdays on the Dove TV and Radio.
Thousands of satisfied customers make Jim Clark's Consignment Country the most recommended RV consignment lot on the West Coast. Even dealers recommend us. That success comes from dealing with only the cleanest pre-owned RVs at the best prices, no high-pressured salespeople, and treating customers with respect. And we've been doing this in the same location for over 40 years. Before you buy or sell your RV, see why so many satisfied customers recommend Jim Clark's Consignment Country. Family owned and operated at 1630 Rogue River Highway in Grants Pass.
I went to KFBK. That's the station that Rush Limbaugh got a start at, and I helped that station become what it is today, which is the #1 news talk station in Sacramento. And then we had the opportunity to buy a daytime AM station in Southern Oregon. It was licensed to Ashland, Oregon, KDOV. I quit my job and sold my house and bought the radio station.
The Dove Radio, 65 years.
Okay, welcome back, and we welcome former Congressman Jim Renacci. He was a U.S. Congressman from Ohio's 16th District. He's an entrepreneur, CPA. He's created a lot of jobs in his career, first of his family to graduate from college, and has a lot of experience under his belt. He does have a website, Jim Renacci, and that's RENACCI.com, and there's a picture of the landing page there. Congressman, I want to come back to our economy now. It seems to bump a little bit, but it doesn't seem to be bumping much. Those of us here on the West Coast, we have some of the highest gas prices in the world, quite frankly. We're not enjoying low gas prices, but I just want to come back and have you reiterate where you think we are now and what lies maybe over the next 4 or 5 months.
Well, again, I do believe we have one of the greatest economies in the world. I know President Trump believes that the tariffs are a way of really making the economy grow and prosper. I can tell you that I'm not a tariff person, and back in 2017 and 2018, I was not a supporter of the tariffs. The tariffs do influence our pricing, our costs. The other big issue, I was talking to a businessman in Texas who said to me, Renacci, I'm struggling because we're removing a lot of immigrants who actually help my business grow and prosper. And I can't replace them with adequate American workforce. So that's another driver of the problems. So if you look at the tariffs and some of the costs that are being driven up by that, you look at, the labor supply and how tight of a labor supply we have. Let's face it, we do need immigrants. We need legal immigrants. I'm a big believer in that. Immigration will help our economy grow and prosper. But when you're taking people out of the workforce, many who are not legal, I understand that. But when you completely remove them out of the workforce and then you try and replace them with American workers who really don't want those jobs, that's also another concern I have. So we're going to have some bumps before we grow again. And we can either kind of live through this, but who always pays? It's like I said earlier in the show. The American people will pay for the shutdown, and the American people will end up paying for some of these programs like removing immigrants and also the tariffs. Ultimately, the American people will pay for those things, and that will be also in a slowing down of the economy in the short term. Now, in the long term, will we get more business back here because of the tariffs? Could be. Won't be for won't be in 3 months, won't be in 6 months, could be in 3 years, could be in 5 years, could be in 10 years. But it's going to take time, and the American people will have to wait through that time and actually end up paying for it while we wait.
I understand that. I think that's a good explanation. I want to come back to the point of how do we solve this immigration problem? I understand the term illegal. I totally get it. But there's been a lot of people here for a long time doing jobs that Americans won't do. How do we solve that problem? Because if we lose that bunch, the cost of doing business will go through the roof and we'll be out of business.
100% agree with you. And let's face it, what is the problem with our immigration system? Well, we have a law that says if you come across the border and say you want asylum, that you can get asylum. Now, the question is, what do you do with that individual after that? Well, we don't have enough courts. We don't have enough people to determine whether the asylum is true or not. So you can either send them back or you can allow them to wait in our country while the decision for asylum is either approved or not approved. That's what's been going on. That's basically what's been happening. While we're waiting, they become part of the American society. They get jobs. They help in the production of in areas that American people don't want those jobs. And then all of a sudden we call them illegal because they didn't get through the process. The other problem with the whole system is the process takes too long. It takes years and years and years. Now, do I believe we should put somebody who has come through illegally ahead of those who have worked really hard to become legal immigrants? Absolutely not. But do I also believe that we should have a process to determine whether these individuals can become legal immigrants and also try to streamline the process so that those that are already in that process can move through a little quicker? Yes, I do. And those are the things we need to be looking at instead of just moving everybody back and saying, nope, you're illegal, you're gone, and really causing problems to our workforce.
I understand the open borders created a crisis. I get it, and one unlike we've ever seen before. But to the point we're talking about here, those who want to come and work, can't we somehow identify them while they're in the process? Can we do like a yellow card and say, you're identified, we know who you are, we know what you're doing, you're just not running free out there? In other words, kind of like a work permit while they're here, so to speak. I mean, why can't we at least do that?
You know, it's funny you said that because I 100% agree with you. I've even said, and I know people get mad when I say that, but they could wear a bracelet as well that says that they are illegal, but they're here trying to become American citizens, whatever it takes. Now, people might say, shame on you, Renee, for talking about bracelets. Okay, take that back. But whether it's a card, whether it's an ID, whether it's a bracelet, let's let those that really want to come here and help the American economy grow and prosper come to our society while we figure out a way to allow them to become American citizens.
Because my biggest concern about this, I mean, there's a lot of areas, but the biggest area in my mind is agriculture. And if we don't solve it there, our cost of food and our own ability to be self-sustaining in food could be hampered. It already is by China buying agricultural land. That's another discussion. But the point being is, when we lose that workforce in agriculture, we're in trouble.
Well, you know, I always like to use my own personal background. My grandparents came here in the 1920s. They did not become citizens until 1939. So they were here for almost 14 years. They came through Ellis Island. Everybody said, wow, they came the right way. They were sponsored. Yes, they were. My father was actually born in 1925 before my grandparents were American citizens. So if you start to look at all that stuff, you would say, well, number one, you know, your dad was an anchor baby. He shouldn't have been a citizen based on what some people think. I think in the end, we needed those immigrants in the 1920s to come to America. They came here. They helped the economy boom and grow. We got to figure out a way to go back and get these individuals here, just like we did in the 20s.
One last question, we'll get you back. Inflation, is it under control or is it just hanging in the balance?
My opinion is inflation is creeping up. We better be careful. It's better controlled than it was after we pumped all this money in. Let's face it, the reason inflation skyrocketed in 21, 22, 23, 24, all those years, is because the federal government pumped in so much money. I mean, I look at the city that I live in here in Ohio. They were sitting on $80 million at one point in time because of COVID money, and they were spending it and spending it and spending it. That was all COVID money. It drove inflation. We now have that COVID money disappearing, which will start to get inflation under control. But I also am concerned that the tariffs will start to allow inflation to creep up. We better be careful.
Okay.
That's the real key.
Congressman, thank you for your time. You're fascinating. Let me say to our viewers, check out his website, Jim Renacci, RENACCI. There's a picture of his landing page and .com, excuse me, and you can connect with him there. Thank you, Congressman. Have a great day. God bless you, friend.
Thank you. You as well.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site 24/7 in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare where your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
At Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Burgers, salads, sandwiches, barbecue platters, sides, and more. Smoked, grilled, and served to perfection. Sweet Tea Express, breakfast, burgers, and barbecue.
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
The most challenging things that happens when you're doing interviews is you interview somebody that their answer is yes, no, yes, no. Those are very, very difficult to do. And you hope it's over real soon. Then you have those that you ask a question to and they just go on and on and on. I mean, you could literally leave the set, go out and have a hamburger and come back and they're still answering the question.
Focus Today, weekdays at 8 on the Dove Radio and TV.
Welcome back, and always a joy and an honor to have with us John O'Connor. He's a former federal prosecutor, of course, experienced trial lawyer, author of the book called Postgate and How Washington Post Betrayed Deep Throat and Covered Up what Watergate and what began today's partisan advocacy journalism. He served as an assistant U.S. attorney in Northern California, representing the United States in both criminal and civil cases. You can go to the website postgatebook.com and you can check out both books, The Mystery of Watergate, What Really Happened, and then Postgate, which is very relevant today as it relates to the legacy media. So, John, good to see you, friend. How you doing, bud?
Good to see you, Perry. Been a while.
Yeah, good to see you. Boy, so much to talk to you about. All right, let's get into the legal stuff. Comey's been indicted. What's your take?
I fear greatly, Perry. I think this is a terrible indictment. And let me tell you this, prefatory. This is the worst guy that's ever disgraced our justice system. He's a man who used his power to trap innocent people into process crimes. It got so that he not only did it to Martha Stewart and Scooter Libby and Frank Quattrone, the investment banker. He then started it with Trump and his cabinet, with Michael Flynn, George Papadopoulos, tried it with other people as well, and then was in the process of trying to trap his president while he was serving that president, was trying to trap him and goad him into process crimes. So he is, without a doubt, the worst in the Hall of Fame. He is Babe Ruth and Otani all wrapped into one. He is a terrible guy. That said, this is the worst way to get him. We are now going to deify him. We are going to make him a hero to the left and to some people on the right who don't think that our system should be used for vindictive prosecutions for political purposes. I think what is being done now is exactly what was done to Trump. That is to say, to use the legal system to punish one's political enemies. I think Comey, so this indictment is dead on arrival. It's a terrible case. I think it will be dismissed prior to trial, but we are making Comey a hero. And rather than disgracing him as the system should, we are now canonizing him. And I don't like it one bit. I've written an article on this. Let me if you want me to, Barry, I'll tell you why the indictment's bad. Do you want me to do that?
Yeah, I would go ahead, because you're echoing several articles I read over the weekend relative to this, that he literally comes out almost as a hero. So go ahead and explain why this is so weak.
Well, first of all, the questions that he was asked, to which he supposedly gave false answers, related to him affirming his misleading, say, answers in 2017. In 2017, he testified before Congress and gave perhaps incorrect, perhaps deceptive answers. It's not clear. But then, and even if those questions were alive and during the statute of limitations, he still wouldn't get convicted. But what happened was, in 2020, Ted Cruz asked him in the Senate whether he would testify the same way as he did in 2017. Comey said, "I stand on my prior testimony." Okay, so two things. First of all, his testimony in 2017 was pretty weak for a perjury charge. But number two, his testimony in 2020 was literally true, which is, I stand on my prior testimony. Okay? So that is literally true, and under Supreme Court and appellate court precedent, you can be a bit misleading, but if you are literally correct, which is, in this case, I stand on my prior testimony. That is a true statement. So that is a big, a very, very big problem.
So, John, why did Bondi allow the department to get so weak into this?
Well, I don't think she could do much about it. There was a very good prosecutor in there, Eric Siebert, who adamantly refused to bring an indictment, probably saying all the things I'm saying to you. Let me add a couple other factors. And I think Lindsay Halligan was Trump's direct hire. She's very close directly to Trump. She doesn't come from Bondi. She comes from Trump. And Trump put her in there, and I think, I'm guessing, said, indict this guy. I want him indicted. And that's exactly what happened. She's a nice young lady who's practiced litigation, doing work on assignment from insurance companies. I'm sure she's a competent civil litigator. She doesn't know the first thing about criminal procedure. As you know, I was a federal prosecutor. This is a terrible case. No one in her office would sign the indictment with her, which is the normal custom for not only the U.S. attorney to sign, but the assistant U.S. attorney in charge of the case. Most of the time, as an assistant U.S. attorney, you want to put your name on a case so you can say, gee, this is my prosecution. And now nobody will do that here. It's going to ruin their careers. And let me add a couple more things, Perry. You've got a jury here in Eastern Virginia, and Comey's a homeboy there, but more importantly, Eastern Virginia is about 80%, 70% Democratic, I should say. And secondly, I didn't add this, a formal problem is when Ted Cruz questioned him, he questioned him with what we call a compound question. If I say, Perry, did you come to San Francisco on October 4th, 2025, and then proceed, and then did you kill John O'Connor? And let's say you killed John O'Connor, but you didn't come to San Francisco on October 4th, you came on October 5th. Literally, that's a compound question. You ask two questions in one, and literally the answer no is a correct answer to that because you didn't do both of them. You only did one of them. So you put all this together, and I'm not sure, I don't know who Lindsay Halligan, the U.S. attorney, is going to get to try this case with her, but I don't see how this thing is resurrected. And I will also tell you that the judge will probably dismiss it prior to trial.
So, in your opinion, John, were there other things they possibly could have indicted him on besides this weak position?
Yes. I'm quite in favor of someone doing some actual hard work and putting together a conspiracy case. Conspiracy cases are matters of art. A good prosecutor can take a set of facts and tie the facts together so that the overall conspiracy is shown. It has to have an illegal object. It can have many parts to it. Whereas a mediocre prosecutor might put those same facts together in an unpersuasive way. In my view, you could put together a very good prosecution case that Comey and Brennan, Hillary Clinton, and others working with them began striving in 2016 to put together a very false narrative to the justice system, to Congress, to the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, and to the American people that Trump was colluding with Russia, including but not limited to the fact that Russia had hacked Hillary's, the DNC email system. This farce went on through 2023 when John Brennan falsely denied that he had insisted on putting the Steele dossier, part of the falsity, denied putting that into the intelligence community assessment, which in turn was a false statement engineered by these people. They knew the intelligence community assessment was false, issued around the time after the election in 2016, issued in early 2017. That was a false statement. All these things are part of the conspiracy. Comey's false and incomplete and deceptive testimony before Congress, Andrew McCabe's false testimony, John Brennan's, James Clapper's, Hillary's aiding and abetting this, and so forth. So you can put together a conspiracy that's much like the sprawling indictments with which Trump was charged. But unlike those indictments, this actually has substance.
Okay, so
these people were defrauding the United States.
So the current case you feel will fall apart. Could he be indicted for what you just said or added to what is currently on the table?
I think you got to do it by separate indictment.
Okay.
The only reason this indictment stands on its face is because this particular statement, the statute of limitations, was passing. I would have used this as part of the overall conspiracy, just to put it in there as just maybe a deceptive act in furtherance of the conspiracy, even if it's not technically perjury or so forth. But it could have been part, and it still could be evidentiary in the conspiracy I describe.
Is there
you can probably put, yeah.
Excuse me, is there a statute on the conspiracy part of it, or could that still happen or not?
So I think the conspiracy statute, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's 6 years. I may be off on that. It's my memory. I haven't looked it up. But most of the statutes are 5-year statutes. I think the conspiracy might be a year longer, but don't hold me to that.
Okay.
But the last overt act was sometime between March and May 2023. I'm forgetting what the date was, where Brennan testified before Congress, as I told you about the use of the Steele dossier, which they all knew was false. Okay. And he said he did not urge putting that in the ICA. So the statute would begin to run at the earliest, I would say, in 2023, and then you can scoop in the 7 prior years of falsity as all part of an ongoing conspiracy that lasted to 2023. So I think that's the way to charge this. You have no problems with the statute of limitations. It's a case that has substance to it. Now, the other problem you've got is the jury. You're going to have to do this in either D.C. or Virginia, so pick your poison.
I guess what's so interesting about this is I guess you can conclude that James Comey outsmarted everybody.
I hate to say that. Here's the thing, Perry.
Yeah.
He didn't outsmart me. I've been writing about him literally. You can go to my website, poststreetbook.com, and you'll see I started writing about him after he got fired and was talking about, everybody was saying what a hero he was. And he was just like Mark Felt, who I represented. And I wrote an article, I think, for The Hill saying something like, James Comey is no Mark Felt. And this is not Watergate, and James Comey is not Mark Felt.
Okay.
And I've done probably 10 or 12 articles on Comey since then. But my theme was, he's fooling us. Please stop. Please, somebody listen to me.
Wow.
This guy's a fraud.
Wow.
So he did. The thing is, though, he's a good criminal. Remember, this is a guy who prosecutes these things for a living, and he's a very, very smart guy.
Yeah.
He uses his intelligence to trap people in very sly and cunning ways, and knows how to do it, knows how to get Perry Atkinson worried that if he tells the truth, he's going to then be admitting to a crime. He's very, very clever.
Wow.
Very, So.
Amazing. Let me take a break. What's the other website where people can read your articles?
The website is postgatebook.com.
Okay. All right, postgatebook.com. All right, let me take a quick break. I got another case we want to hear from. Postgatebook.com, there's a picture of the landing page. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
The threat of wildfire poses a growing risk to Oregonians. You can prepare now by taking 3 important steps. Create a home inventory, make copies of important financial records, and contact your insurance company to make sure you have the right amounts and types of home insurance coverage. Be wildfire ready by being insurance ready. Visit dfr.oregon.gov/prepare now to learn how.
Weekday mornings on the Dove, it's one of the longest running shows in broadcast history, the 700 Club. Informative with the day's top events. Encouraging with uplifting stories of faith. The 700 Club, weekdays on the Dove TV.
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV Resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at applegaterv.com.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
When I was a teenager, I remember I was taken to Johns Hopkins Hospital for surgery. I was frightened at the idea of being paralyzed for the rest of my life. I was only a kid. Well, they pushed my gurney into the old hospital lobby and parked me at the foot of this big statue. I looked up breathless. It was a massive marble figure of Christ with outstretched arms. At its base were the words of Jesus from Matthew 11. "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." That day I was placed directly at the feet of Jesus, and I will never forget the warm embrace of his outstretched arms. I would replay that moment so many times, it became part of my healing. Friend, today, picture yourself at the feet of Christ, because he can lift your burden.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Okay, welcome back, and always an honor to have with us John O'Connor, former federal prosecutor, and he also served as an assistant U.S. attorney in Northern California, representing the United States both in criminal and civil cases. He just gave us an amazing explanation of the James Comey indictment, and I have to tell you, John, from what I read over the weekend, I think you're spot on, as sad as I have to admit that. But thank you for your tenacity and your endeavors there to show us what's really going to go on and where this case probably will end up. The other one that hit the news is the New York Attorney General Letitia James, and as you know now, she has been indicted for mortgage fraud. What little I know about this and trying to research it, it's pretty amazing. She doesn't seem to be the only one caught in this trap, but what do you think about that case?
Well, technically, this one actually makes some sense. It's legally tenable. Is it a good case? No. It's not a good case, but it's a proper case. Unlike the other one, the case, it's proper. There's probable cause that she committed fraud on a mortgage application. Is it a good case to try? No. If I were a prosecutor, I would, and I won this case, I would say, boy, I pulled one out of here, out of the fire. I would have no moral compunction about bringing the case because she actually did defraud the lender, and it's a crime, and you have to be honest on these things. And she, above all people, should be honest if she's enforcing much of the same kind of laws, even if she's not a federal prosecutor, she's a state prosecutor. But yeah, look, she swore that this thing would be under penalty of perjury, that this loan would be used for residential purposes, for at least partially for a resident's second home. I have a second home in which I use it as a residence, but I also rent it out partially. That would be okay if that were her intent, but that was not her intent. I think they have pretty good evidence that from day one, she was renting it out. Now, that said, Now you read about how she had nieces and nephews or whatever relatives in the area, might even had a father there too, but that one of her family, she was intending on having one or more of them live there. And then she'll come up with a story about how those plans were dashed for some unexplained reasons. And so her intent, while being legitimate at the time she applied, was not able to be carried out, and therefore she did not lie on the application. I have told people that as a federal prosecutor, the hardest burden of proof as a lawyer in this country is finding in a white collar case that the defendant intended beyond beyond a reasonable doubt to a unanimous jury. That's what you have to prove, those elements, and that burden is extremely high. And so think about that. People can say she probably defrauded. On balance, I don't believe her. I think she probably intended to just get a better rate by BSing people. She was always intending to rent it out. However, I can't say that she intended that beyond a doubt at the time she signed the application.
There's a part of the application, John, that I don't know if it's true, but it's been mentioned several times where she actually listed herself as her father's wife.
Yeah. Well,
what do you do with that?
What the heck? There may be some reason for that. I mean, remember, you can't be prosecuted for being stupid and saying I didn't understand it or whatever, or I was in place, I was fulfilling that role here.
Okay.
I don't know what she's going to say. Look, she's got a great lawyer. This guy, I've read his transcripts. He's not interesting. He's interesting because he's not a prepossessing fellow. He does not have Hollywood good looks. He looks like kind of a mean little guy and all that. But I'll tell you this. When they handed out the brains, that guy got a lot. And he's very clever and a good defense lawyer. And he's going to have this thing tied up in knots.
Does this same strategy case elements bleed over into the Adam Schiff case?
Yes, to some degree. Although in Adam Schiff's case, he has a couple of wonderful defenses. Number one, the advantage of time. You have two different applications at two different times.
Oh.
And you have a guy who's in Congress 3,000 miles away from his home. So what do? I mean, in the old days, you're a congressman, you always had to live on the East Coast somewhere. And these guys oftentimes would get together, and we actually had lawmakers who liked each other from different parties because they lived in the same rooming house. So you have that factor, but you also have two different times. He could have intended one thing at one time and one thing at the other. There could have been different situations at different times where he was intending to reside. Then secondly, because you're a congressman, in essence, does your position almost require you to have two, call them primary residences? I mean, you're supposed to be in Congress. You're working in D.C. That's where you work. So to a certain extent, that's your primary residence, even though under law, you're a resident of California.
So
you have to be one to serve there. So it's such weird. If you're going to pick one profession in this country in which you could say you have two primary residences at once, it would be being a congressman or a senator.
John, you're amazing. I need to get you some more M&Ms. Let me ask you this. But he's under immunity. Can they touch him?
he's not really under immunity. He's under immunity for acts within the scope of his congressional duties. So he's not immune from prosecution here. He's just look. If he beat up his neighbor, he could be prosecuted.
Okay.
And same way with this fraud.
All right, one last question. I got about a minute. Big day in the Middle East. What's your take?
What Trump did in the Middle East, and his critics will say it was all accidental, but let me tell you this guy, both parties were put in a position of doing something that they were unwilling to do. And any mediator will tell you that they've done a great job when they get people who are completely unwilling to settle something to settle. They put Hamas in a situation in which they had lost all their support. And a lot of that is from Trump allowing the IDF from Israel from bombing the hell out of people in the Middle East and worrying Qatar and these other places. And at the same time, he struck the fear of the Lord into Netanyahu, who is now getting closed in by public opinion and so forth. And so Trump did a masterful job of putting these two people in places where they could be forced by external circumstances to get together.
Wow.
Now, the second thing I will say here is I'm not real big. I want him to wipe out Hamas. Hamas is still breathing hope into this thing, but I think they're going to wipe them out.
Don't forget, phase 2 probably won't come to pass.
My point, it will not come to pass, and they'll finish the job.
Yeah.
So this is a really good day for all of us.
Thank you, John. God bless you, friend. Always enjoy and honor have you. Check out postgatebook.com. That's his website. Thank you, John. Blessings on you, friend.
Barry, take care.
Finding that next great series to binge watch is fun, but your neck, shoulders, and body don't count that as me time. Hi, I'm Tamara Miller, owner of Organic Element Spa, and I invite you to put down the remote, get off the couch, and schedule yourself some real me or we time with your favorite service, like one of our many massages, couples massages, or facials. Your health, safety, and comfort are always top priority with us at Organic Element Spa. We can't wait to see you. Book your appointment today.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced